They did it, guys. They did it. They did everything we were asking for. Lucasfilm, they were listening to us. They said, you know what we need? What do we need? We need the guy that did Dark Phoenix. Bring him in. Do a trilogy. That's what everybody's wanting. They're going to stop complaining about it. This is what we need. A new trilogy right afterwards. Don't even worry about it. Are we going to figure out how to connect the stories? Nope. Just give them a trilogy. They want a trilogy. So we're going to do a trilogy. That's what everybody wants. Nobody wants that. And our story was going to be Stranger Things. And then this hit. And myself and John Roca and Steph are going to be discussing this. What a crew to be discussing. And I'll tell you, these two have never done at least the Christian Harloff show together. And I think it's the perfect crew to discuss this news. I can go off on a tangent right now, but then I'll race my tangent in a little bit. So, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, anywhere podcasts are found. It's the Christian Harloff Show. It's me, it's John Roca, it's Steph Sabra, everybody. Let's do it. All right. You're ready. I'm ready. Here we go. Welcome back, everybody, to the Christian Harloff Show. We are live, and we've got some big breaking news today. And to join me on the show to do so every Thursday here is Steph Sabra. Hello, Steph.
Hi.
Nice to have you here.
Thank you.
And doing a double duty this week, the outlaw Jon Roca. I don't know what you did, but your lighting looks great now.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, it looks good.
Thanks for and you said duty.
Duty. Yeah, well, that's what this news is. Duty.
Yeah.
Serious
Hello.
duty. All right, before we get into it, I'll let you guys know Jon Roca started off strong on Monday with the questions, and Roxy and Brett said, get out of the way, outlaw. We are going to do 89. So I have good news and I have good news. What do you want first?
I want the good news.
All right, well, the good news is that you guys together are going to be a force to be reckoned with when it comes to the questions, right?
Yeah.
The good news is, without even starting the topic, you are at 69 questions.
What?
Oh, yeah.
Without even starting. We haven't even started.
Suck it, Roxy and Brett, and suck it myself on Monday.
That's
we go.
right.
Yeah.
So, 70. Just kidding. 70. It's coming in hot because people want to talk about this. People want to discuss what's going on. And this is the topic. And the topic is something. Star Wars Trilogy deal. Lucasfilm taps Simon Kinberg to write and produce. They have 3 names in their Rolodex. And one of those names is Simon Kinberg. And they said, hey, Simon was supposed to do a bunch of these. He was supposed to do that Boba Fett movie a while ago. Remember that? Yeah, let's go. Let's call him up again. Why? Well, why not? We haven't announced somebody and canceled anything in a while. Should we do that? Yeah, let's do that. So Lucasfilm has closed a deal with Simon Kinberg to develop a trilogy of Star Wars films that everybody was asking for. Kinberg will write the trio and produce them with Lucasfilm chief Kathleen Kennedy. Thank God. I heard this will comprise episodes of 10 to 12 of the Skywalker saga that began with George Lucas' 1977 first film, even though Kathleen Kennedy said not too long ago, we're not doing any more of the trilogy stuff. But then she got nervous and realized they need to make more money, so she called Kinberg. Oh, that wasn't in there. Sorry. First film that, along with Steven Spielberg's Jaws, reshaped the global blockbuster game. Insiders disputed my intel that Kinberg will continue that storyline, saying this will instead be a new saga and sit along Star Wars projects with James Mangold, Charmaine Obaid-Chinoy, Taika Waititi, and Donald Glover. I thought the Taika Waititi one was toast, or at least maybe not official. And same thing with Donald Glover. Anyway, as usual, Lucasfilm is not commenting. Kinberg previously worked with Lucasfilm in co-creating Rebels, and that ran for 4 seasons. He was also a consultant on Episode 7, The Force Awakens, the J.J. Abrams directed film. He also has been heavily involved in other franchises as writer and producer. That includes a decade spent on the X-Men films and the Logan spin-off film that starred Hugh Jackman and directed by Mangold himself. He was also a producer of the first Deadpool films, an executive producer of the 2024 blockbuster Deadpool and Wolverine. He produced the Ridley Scott-directed The Martian and has scripted such films as Mr. and Mrs. Smith, co-wrote the film that launched the Sherlock Holmes franchise with Robert Downey Jr., Jude Law. He also produced the Kenneth Branagh, Agatha Christie film trilogy that started with Murder on the Orient Express. In short, he's comfortable in the franchise sphere. Upcoming, Kinberg is producing Paramount's remake of Stephen King's The Running Man, which just went into production. Edgar Wright is directing. All right, listen. This has nothing to do, and I joked about it in the front of the intro. Steph, when I brought her into the stream, said the guy that did Dark Phoenix. Roka said the same thing when he joined. Right? It's unfair to just give him that because I just read a ton of the credits that he did that are really good and that he's been part of, and he's produced tons of really good stuff, and he really loves Star Wars and he wants to be a part of it. My issue is less with Kinberg. I really don't have it has nothing to do with it because it's what they said there. It could be a new trilogy, or it could just be another thing lumped in with this other stuff that we don't have any dates for or anything else. It's a disaster. Basically, like, well, what we should do. We haven't worked with Simon in a little bit. Let's call him up and see, hey, you want to do a new trilogy? Why? Because we need something. Bob's really on our back. And it's like, so they just get this is such typical old school Kathleen Kennedy type of producing of the go to the old hat. Who do you know? Who can get this done? And what it even is. And yes, Kinberg and Filoni have a relationship, and he'll listen to Filoni and they'll kind of have a back and forth. But I think that's a problem. I think that Filoni shouldn't have anything to do with this frickin' thing. He could give his input on it, but this is, I don't know. I think to me, and I'll start with you, Steph, I just feel that I'm really not going to get excited about brand new news, especially a trilogy, and who knows if they're even going to finish a trilogy until this film and TV regime is toast. How are you feeling about this?
I think this news update is absolutely diabolical. I cannot believe that they chose this week of all weeks to just announce that, hey, we haven't listened to anything you guys have said. And actually, no, I wouldn't even say that. I feel like we have listened to what you said and we disagree.
Right.
So this is the plan, and sit back and relax because we have an awesome record of just fulfilling what we say we're going to do. So I'm pissed because I don't even know if I can even believe that, like what's the point of me getting really wrapped up into this? Because it's probably not going to happen. But then B, it's like, it's just really upsetting as a fan that I don't know, like we're seeing people like James Gunn, I feel like really change the way that he communicates with fans and is altering an entire universe based on that. And it feels so cool to be like involved with him in a lot of ways and shape kind of what the movies and TV are going to look like. And then Star Wars to be so distant from their fans. And not only that, distant from what's working. Like, it doesn't work to announce a full trilogy without seeing how the first one does.
Well, to be fair, they didn't announce it. To be fair, they didn't announce it. It was kind of like this guy found it out that they closed the deal. Now, your argument could be is still in sound because it's they signed somebody to do a trilogy.
Right. Yeah. So even the idea of signing someone to do a trilogy just feels like they're boxing themselves in for no reason. I just like it to me feels like they don't even really want to succeed, which feels impossible to believe because everything revolves around money and there's so many people who work for Lucasfilm that really love and this is their passion. So I'm confused as to why they would set themselves up that way. And then it just is with no like clear direction yet again. So it's weird and bad news and odd news on all fronts.
Yeah, John, I think that this is something where, and I saw someone in the comments goes, people want transparency, and then they announce something, everybody rips it apart. I think, unfortunately, that's what Lucasfilm has earned at this moment, because the other coupling comment there is this will probably not even happen. Right, because of how many we're just used to them saying it's going to happen and then it doesn't happen, or sign somebody and then they leave creative differences. But going off Steph's point, and you and I have discussed this many times on the Monday show, is that it seems like where DC said, all right, you know what, we're going to get new people here. We're going to try a new thing because the last thing we tried didn't really work, and we want to get the fans on board. So we have this guy here who is a creative, plus he's a director, he's a producer, he knows now, he listens to the fans. And then you got Marvel, who it was starting to take a crap a little bit, and they said, oh, you know what we'll do, we're going to kind of spin things around. And Lucasfilm's like, no, everything we're doing is fine, it's great no matter what. So what do you make of all of this?
Well, there's a lot of ways to assess this, right? Because one, this is the guy who just executive produced Deadpool and Wolverine. So clearly, they think that Sean Levy, they have their fingers on the pulse of what people want to see or excited about, right? This is his current thing that he's writing on. I think this maybe, moves the Sean Levy movie, Ray movie, maybe into pole position now with Simon Kinberg. The fact that Kathleen Kennedy will be producing all three of these movies, does that mean this is basically job security for her for the next 10 years?
Not necessarily. Not necessarily.
I'm just throwing it out. Yeah. Maybe. Like, because we had Amy Pascal, of course, not with Sony, leaving.
Still
Sony,
have her name on it.
Right. Will it have her name on it? How much will she be involved? So this idea that you're moving out Kathleen Kennedy, not if she's going to be producing, whether she's with Lucasfilm or not, these three films. So you've got that connection here. But Simon is an interesting character because, as you said, and Steph and I talked about with you, the Dark Phoenix stuff is negative. But Legion, people really liked Legion. He clearly knows Star Wars with Star Wars Rebels. So you talk about Rebels, who do you think made this hire? Filoni. Filoni is the one that came and pushed him. Filoni is the one that came and pitched him. The Deadpool Wolverine thing helped. So this is what you're getting. It's a guy with a hit or miss record throughout his entire career. Some of the hits are really big hits, but some of the misses are really massive. So there's no consistency here in what he does. And that's what makes me nervous about this whole thing. And I have to say, I'm on the other side of this. I think this will happen. I think he will do this. I think they absolutely want to go forward with this. I think they like this guy. I think they want to be in business with these people.
He gets things done. He gets things done.
He gets things done in multiple franchises.
Yeah.
Multiple franchises.
And that's probably why.
That's the reason why they did it.
John, I think you're 100% right. And I think that the reason why is because they're so tired, as we're goofing on the fact that they never get anything done and that people are dropping left and right. They know he's a sure thing.
Yes.
You know, they know he's a sure thing. Like, they know that, okay, if we sign him up to do stuff and he writes, and plus he's writing it, he's not directing it. Dark Phoenix he directed, and he's writing it and he's producing it. So, like, okay, and then I don't know if necessarily Filoni got him hired. Is that something you're hearing? That Filoni
No, it's just something that I think because they work together.
Well, I heard they didn't really see eye to eye. So I don't know if that's true or not. But I don't know.
See eye to eye, we still work together.
This is true. But I don't. Filoni's more so responsible because I actually interviewed Kinberg and Filoni during season 1. He was nowhere to be found after season 1.
Right. Okay.
So you know, he was never anybody. He was doing all the interviews before it launched, and then afterwards he just disappeared. Now I don't know. Maybe they get along famously. I have no idea. But the question is also, where in the world does this thing fit? Because what does that mean for the Rey thing? Is that if they're doing a new trilogy, let's say based off of, I think it was Mike Fleming Jr. that wrote it, based off of his article, if he is right, and it is indeed, you know, was it 10, 11, and 12, continuing on, well, then that would obviously put Rey in those movies for 10, 11, and 12, and you're going to do a Rey movie?
Right.
What?
Right.
Or...
Don't discount what Daisy Ridley said. And I don't mean to interrupt you here, Christian, but she said recently, like last week, she said, I'm so excited for where Rey is going. People are going to get really excited for this Rey character. So she clearly knew that she was going to be a much bigger part of the new Star Wars than just her movie.
She did say, I think she even said something along the line that something that she heard some kind of news that was coming. Maybe this was it.
Yes. Yeah.
Maybe this was it. And that does, so there's a lot of different things that you can now ask. You say, one, is they're not going to do a Rey movie plus a trilogy. So if it is indeed 10, 11, and 12, you would assume that the Chinoy movie is either gone or she's going to direct one of the trilogy movies or nothing altogether, and they just condense that into this trilogy. Or the other part of this article that suggests that this is potentially something outside of 10, 11, 12, and maybe... I would say my fingers crossed is that it would be an Old Republic, Knights of the Old Republic thing. But as I mentioned, there's no world where Filoni's going to let that happen. And there's no world that, you know, Filoni's going to get it in there and say, well, that's not really what George wants. That's not really what the philosophy of George. And George didn't like quiet Filoni. And I think that it's going to be something else entirely. And the question is, are they going to start creating new people? Are they going to start creating new, which is great, but it's a risk because here's the problem with the trilogy with Steph, and I'm sure you feel the same way. When they say, let's say it's a brand new thing that we don't know, which everyone's like, look, they're going to try something new. And let's say the first movie out of this new trilogy stinks. You think they're going to commit to those next two movies?
Yes, yes. I think if they actually move this forward, they will commit to the trilogy. That to me, I feel like they've never had a track record of actually starting some, like putting it to the theater and then not. Obviously, there's not that many examples, but that would be pretty wild. But I do think that's the risk you take with ordering a trilogy, and I know that's just speculation. We don't know for sure, but I feel exactly as you guys do, where I have no problem with Kinberg, and I think most writers and producers, surely producers, have hit and miss
Yes.
records. That's like,
Sure.
I think all producers do that. So it's not him at all, and I want to be clear about that, because I do think everyone should get, if they see a spark in you, you should absolutely get your shot. And who am I to not open that with welcome arms? But it's the business of it that just feels like they're like missing this love of Star Wars when they're announcing these huge projects, and it just feels like it's money oriented as opposed to pushing the franchise into a greater direction.
I think there's a counter to that, because I do think that Kinberg. I think you're right, and potentially in the pushback at the same time. Where I think that's where when I say there's something's a cash grab, and everybody goes, and the wrong thing of, well, everything's a cash grab. No, that's not the definition of a cash grab. But you can look at this and say exactly what you did, Steph, and that's, they just are trying to make money. They're going with the sure thing. They're going with somebody who's just going to put together movies, and they're not really listening to us. I think that's a fair argument to make. But then the other side of that is, this guy does love Star Wars. I mean, Kinberg does. He absolutely loves Star Wars. He's not just the guy that's going to come in and, I mean, he wants to try to figure out how to do the best product forward. There's nothing.
Right.
Yeah, that's true. Go ahead, Steph.
It's just, I think I completely agree with that. It's just announcing that it's the overall culture of us like not seeing the start of a story and being really invested in it.
Yeah.
And then moving forward, if that story has more to give. I think there's something so beautiful about movies that don't know if they're going to get a sequel, and their just reception was so great, and the story was like, people were like, give me something like, I gotta see what's next.
Right.
And that magic has kind of been taken away. And I know this is still, we don't know. So I'm just saying, from my side of things, what worries me about Star Wars is that kind of culture.
Well, it does seem like, I think that to couple of that, John, it just seems like they're throwing spaghetti at the wall and hoping that something sticks.
Well, I mean, Snyder said on the hot mic that they had been working on a lot of Star Wars projects behind the scenes, that everyone is like saying, oh, they don't know what they're doing. But he was very clear and adamant that, like, you know, Lucasfilm has a number of projects. They've been working on a number of projects. And look, all studios do that. So it's not like astounding to say that. But clearly they've got an idea of what they think is going to work here. They're going at their pace. They hire a guy who's got a track record of bringing things into port. So they think in that way. And look, what was the main complaint we had was that they didn't stay with J.J. Abrams through all three of those movies from the sequel trilogy. Right. Maybe that would have been a better response. So in a way, they're addressing that by having Kinberg come aboard. I think what you're going to see with the Rey stuff is that this could be like Avengers, in that the 9, 10, 11, 12 is Avengers, and the Rey movie is like Captain America's thing or Thor's thing or Iron Man's thing, where she's doing her own missions, and they're introducing new characters in 10, 11, 12 that will be part of what we get. And don't be surprised if there are other solo movies that lead into 9, 10, 11, 12 as well, if this is the trilogy, if this is a trilogy. So I think they look at the Marvel model and they're like, oh, how do we match that in a way? And certainly Kinberg has Marvel experience as well. Maybe not MCU experience, but Marvel experience. Yeah. So, you know.
Well, let's go with the positives, right? Let's say that this thing actually does happen. And let's say that they're like, all right, we have enough of a body of an idea. We're going to learn. This is the problem, though, is what Steph was saying before. It doesn't seem like they want to learn anything from their mistakes because they don't believe they've made mistakes. So if they did say, well, you know what, we've made some mistakes in the past, and as John was mentioning, let's get one director to do this entire thing, but what's that?
Is he going to direct or produce?
No. He's going to write and produce. He's not going to direct. But let's say Kinberg writes, produces, and says, and look, maybe, which hasn't really been discussed and hasn't been in this report, maybe because Kinberg has such a great relationship with Mangold, he sits down with him and he goes, hey, what do you think? Your thing, all right, you're going to do the start of the Jedi and the start of the Sith and the finding of the Force and all that stuff. I like that. What if we do a trilogy? What if we start with what you're doing and Mangold and Kinberg start doing something in that time period and start creating a new lore and pushing things thousands of years before and getting away from the Skywalkers and all that? You've got an opportunity to do something good, and you have an opportunity to have Mangold in at least part of the first movie. You would hope he would do all three, but let's say he starts the first. If that is the case, and they do that, again, this is fantasy booking at this point, but if they are doing that, you would say, all right, well, the next step is get a bunch of writers in a freaking room and knock out this trilogy now. Don't say, oh, you know what we did? Mangold and Kinberg did a great job with that first one. Now we're going to get Shoeless Lewis and the rest of the gang to go write the next one, and they didn't like what those guys did in the first one. So they're going to change it all together, and they're going to change the lore, and this time they're going to, even though it's in the past, Luke Skywalker's go, I'm time traveler from the future. And then they love that, and we're going to do that, and we're going to do all this stuff, new animals and new aliens, and it'll be wonderful. And then it eats crap, and they go, oh, no, let's bring back somebody else, or let's bring somebody all new, and it doesn't tie together, and it's a sloppy mess like the last trilogy. That's what you cannot do with this. So,
right.
But Steph, the positives of it, can you see something where if they actually put this together, they work together, a Kinberg and Mangold, they can make something special?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, like, I think for sure there's definitely no 100% this is not going to be good at all. Like, I do think that these are two, Kinberg's talented and he cares, which I think is what matters the most, those two things together when you're making projects that a lot of people care about. And he obviously has good relationships with other talented people, and I agree. I think to your question previously, like if the first one flops, are they gonna continue? I hope they do continue, and I hope they keep the same person on it, because
Right.
I do think that would be learning from the past.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Someone said, though, to be fair, they said no Shoeless Lewis hate in the chats, please.
Protect Shoeless Lewis.
Shoeless Lewis. And I like the way they spelled it, actually. It was Shulas. Shoeless.
Shoeless.
Shoeless Lewis.
Shoeless Lewis.
Shoeless Lewis.
I love that.
Yeah, him and Yule Bowl. So, I don't know. I think there is a possibility to do something great. There really is. And there is a chance to do something great. And look, there's nobody in this chat on this panel that wants this to be good better than me. I want to be so wrong about this. I want to be wrong. I want them to make a trilogy. I'm like, holy crap, text you guys and go, did you guys see that? Oh my, it was unbelievable.
I forgot about all your false announcements.
Yeah. Like
nothing matters.
Yeah,
like you did that.
We'd get on and say that we were wrong. That was so good. I can't wait to see where these characters go. That's why I think they should stay away from 10, 11, and 12. And just hearing myself say it, like, do something new. And if they team up Mangold and Kinberg, that could work. Plus, it then gets away, John, from the sloppiness of Taika's got a project, Mangold's got a project, Chinoi's got a project. It's like, no, first of all, scrap the well, if you're going to scrap, I don't know if you're going to scrap the Chinoy one, but maybe retool it, rework it. And then, Levy's in there too. So let Levy do the Rey movie and whatever it's going to be. Problem number one, instead of having two movies, you got one. Okay. Yeah. Instead of then saying, what do we do if he wants to do 10, 11, and 12 and Rey, and have Mangold and Kinberg work together, there you go. And then you can have Filoni tie up his movie with the Mandalorian and Grogu. And you can have them tie that up. But I would hope, and someone's like, why are you being so hard on Filoni? Because he doesn't, look, the guy is so passionate about Star Wars. He really, to say that he doesn't care about Star Wars is not genuine, not fair.
Oh, no, true.
He's just so caught up in the way that George saw it and the way that George sees it. And that's not really Star Wars. And I don't give a crap what you guys tell me in the comments. The man is not a fan of Andor. Not a fan of Andor. And that is the type of stuff to where it's like, you put the comparisons of the writing of Ahsoka next to, Andor, and it looks like The Godfather next to Peppa Pig. And you can't do it. And it's like, so what? Because that's not the guy that should be in charge of creative. It's just not. Let him do animation. He's great at it. But what do you say, John?
Peppa Pig. Yeah, I mean, looking at that to my pig. I look at this situation. Yeah, but I still have look as positive as I may see this. Kinberg is not a name that excites you. Steph, I think, said this way at the beginning. This is not a name that necessarily gets you, wow, I'm on board. I'm so excited. So I do have concerns because some of the writing on him, I mean, like there are some really, really bad misses on his resume. So this is not someone that you want to come out and is going to like excite the Star Wars fans. Look at our reaction. It has been muted to, yeah, okay, I can see it working, to maybe it won't work. So it doesn't quite have the reaction you were hoping for. And isn't that what is frustrating us about Star Wars, is that we're not inspired and excited and
right,
like on board any like we used to be. Like we have like that little bit of PTSD from the last few years.
Well, John, wouldn't you say back in the day, in the 50s, it was no. It was baseball.
Flash Gordon stuff?
No. It was baseball, football, hockey, right? And that,
yes.
Okay, so now what you would say,
I would say actually baseball, hockey, then football in the 50s.
In the 50s. Well, now you would say it's football, baseball, depending on what season, hockey, right?
I would say football, NBA, then baseball, then hockey.
Right. And that's the shift that you've also seen with from even when they weren't making movies. Star Wars was untouchable.
Yeah.
And then it was, well, who's this Marvel on the side? Yeah, DC would have the Batman movies and things too, and they would battle back and forth. And then Marvel took the MCU next level and started to go number 2. And then, okay, maybe they can battle it out with this new trilogy coming out. And then they started making all the decisions, and then they hit the 2 tier. And now after all these disasters, they're so far in the basement now. Even DC they got a movie coming out in July, and they haven't even launched anything. And DC's in the 2 spot because it looks like they actually have a plan that makes sense.
Yeah, and you look at this situation. Someone just said, like, why are you bashing Filoni? Well, I mean, look at Ahsoka. It did not come off as well as he was hoping. And so you don't have a lot of faith right now in anybody that's in charge of Star Wars. And so this is a bit of a muted announcement. And Steph, I think, was so smart in saying that too. This is the week you decide to do this. It's a curious.
Well, they didn't announce it. They didn't announce it though.
Well, but you know how this works. I mean, this person is not putting this out there and risking their connections with Lucasfilm and Disney unless they're like essentially okay with him putting it out there. Being good friends with a scooper, I know that sometimes when it's massive news, you do check in with the studio to see if it's okay.
They didn't comment. But they didn't comment. They didn't say it was untrue.
Star Wars never comments, and then it comes out and it's true. So
right. Well, I'm not saying it's not true. I think it is true.
Yeah,
I don't think it's fair to say to them, well, this is the week that you did it, because it's like they didn't. Maybe that's exactly why they didn't comment. They're like, guys, we'll talk about this next week. Don't bring it up now.
Possibly, or you float it out there. Let's see what they say, and then we'll deal with the ramifications later. It's very possible as well. You know, I come from a more cynical point of view than you, Christian. So that's the way I look at it.
Fair.
Sometimes.
I will say that I finally saw. Okay, so I don't really want them to extend the Skywalker universe for a long time. I feel like we need some space. But if they do, if there's a way in which they can do what Transformers 1 did for the entire Transformers franchise for me, then I would be thrilled, because Transformers 1 made me like the Transformers franchise way more than I was liking it. And I think there's a lot of good in it, but I didn't really care. But Transformers 1, I'm like, I'm locked in now, and I will watch any Transformers anything
because you want to see more.
You've done this.
Because, well, it's almost like, because it's the reason we keep going back to Star Wars in the first place, because we know that there's still good in them, right? We know that it's still there. It's like the lore has there. It's got the wrong senators running the freaking republic. That's the problem. You gotta vote them out. And this is the big issue. And it's like, it's not putting Kinberg and Mangold and everybody together. It's like, and I hammer it down every single time we talk about Star Wars. And I'll emphasize it every time for people who are brand new watching it. You don't touch the people who are making the comics. You don't touch people who are making the games and the animation. They're doing great work. Visions and the last what's it called, the Jedi game, whatever the Jedi game is, the one, the they've had 2. Cal Kestis, that stuff, everything that they've been doing. Great, you leave them. The TV and the film execs, again, referencing sports, they're putting in the wrong lineups. They're blowing out pitchers' arms because they're pitching them too long. They are making the wrong decisions. They need to go. Like everybody. And yes, it includes Filoni too. Push them back to animation. They all need to go. It's not working. And this thing is just, this is a Hail Mary. This is a Flutie bringing in Kinberg. So I don't know, man. Is there anything else you guys want to add to this?
I just hope he attracts the right directors and the right writers. Like you were saying, no offense to Shoeless Lewis, but like I hope there are some really great writers that maybe were hesitant to text it, because we're outside the bubble. As much as people think we're inside the bubble of Hollywood, we're not actually in those meetings. We're not actually on sets, on studio property, walking around daily with an office on the studio lot, right? That's not us. But I wonder if people who go and pitch, who know the system really well and work within the system are excited by this because of Kinberg's track record of actually landing the plane in multiple franchises. We didn't even mention Sherlock Holmes. And so it's all these things that he's been a part of. And so maybe writers and directors who were hesitant about an unstable Lucasfilm look at a guy who's got a track record of being pretty solid and go, okay, maybe I'm in good hands here. Maybe I will pitch something, or I will take the job, or I will get involved in this because I've seen all the Star Wars hate. But if I can actually get the film done, then I'll take a chance. I'll risk years of my life to make this happen. So it may be a good hire in that way.
Steph, final thoughts on this one?
I hope that they stick to a plan.
I know. Same. We'll see what is going to happen with this news. If it actually happens, what it will be, where they're going to set it in general. But it does just seem more sloppy decision-making, very old school way of thinking. Let's find some new names to tell Star Wars stories. The same old, they just don't know what to do. I'm telling you, there's so much pressure on them from Iger at this point. So we'll see what happens. Put your thoughts in there. Tell us exactly what you're thinking about this subject. And before we move on, I know for me, after talking about this, I'm gonna need some Via. That's right. I'm gonna talk about Via right now, and then I'm gonna follow it up with the perfect gene. Here it is. As the crisp fall air now rolls in and those leaves begin to change, don't rely on pumpkin to spice up your life. You got to embrace the natural power of cannabis this fall with Via. Whether you're lounging by the fire or you're exploring new adventures, Via's premium, federally legal cannabis products are your perfect companion. Farmed and crafted with care in the U.S. and trusted by over 500,000 customers, Via has a product for everyone. Via is well known for their premium THCA flower grown indoors in the state-of-the-art facilities and harvested at peak THCA levels to emphasize a natural aroma and flavor. They're constantly adding new strains to its website every week, as they're always receiving fresh new strains from their independent farm harvests. Via is also well-renowned for their award-winning THC and THC-free gummies. Yum. They sent me some. Loving it. Digging it. Big fan. Especially after I moved, I needed a place and I found Via. If you are 21 and up, check out the link in our description and use that code Christian to receive 15% off. After you purchase, they're going to ask you where you heard about them. You got to support our show, and you tell them that we sent this fall. Enhance your everyday with Via. Come on, you are thanking me already. Well, it is cold, and it's here. And guess what? I'm living in the perfect gene. I love the perfect gene. They are so great. They're stretchy. They're soft. They totally trick people, by the way, into thinking that I have my life together. And you guys know. If you're watching, I don't. Am I telling you this because I actually love them? Or because this is what they told me to say? That's right. Perfect Gene paid me to say this. Who cares? But I can honestly say that these are awesome jeans. I love them. 400,000. What's that number? That's how many men have rescued their nuts from stiff, unforgiving jeans, all thanks to the Perfect Gene. They have enough stretch to accommodate Thanksgiving dinner, and they're comfy enough to wear all day watching football. Plus, even though they feel like sweatpants, they look good enough to be your go-to pants for date night. I love them. I love the fact that I can wear them and my wife goes, whoa, you look good in those. I'm like, yeah, that's right. I look good. That's Perfect Gene. I can move around in them. They're stretchy. They feel great. I get compliments on them all the time. Stop crushing your nuts in jeans by going to theperfectgene.nyc. our listeners will get 15% off your first order, plus free shipping, free returns, free exchanges. But you got to use that code BIGTHING15 at checkout. 15% off for new customers at theperfectgene.nyc. Use that promo code BIGTHING15. You're going to purchase. They're going to ask you where you heard about them. You're going to say, from Christian Harloff. That's right. Big Thing. Please support our show and tell them that we sent you. F your khakis. Get the Perfect Gene. All right. Thank you to both the Perfect Gene and, of course, Via. Big fans of both of them. Talking about them forever. If you want to help out the show, that's how you do it. But, man, if I'm telling you that I have had sponsors on this show since I've really started it, and I've never seen the response that I have seen when it comes to Via. I put it in the comment. I put it in there. I look at the comment section, and it's just like someone who I guess had been watching the show in a little bit saw the Via sponsor, so they said, "Whoa, I like this sponsor." It's like they are the best, and I'll tell you, I absolutely love them. I want them to be around. I want them to be on my show for the end of time. So in order to do that, get them, because then I'll have them forever. If you guys get them, they're worth it. All right, let's talk about, you want to talk about good Star Wars? Like Star Wars that really you get excited about, and Star Wars that you're like, what, this is exactly what I'm talking about. Dune, Part 2. Now the score seeks an Oscar. That's right. The Star Wars we all wanted and needed. Dune 2. 2 weeks ago came a report indicating that Denis Villeneuve's Dune Part 2 won't be in the running for Best Original Score Oscar at this year's Academy Awards ceremony. An independent review of the acclaimed film's musical score by composer Hans Zimmer reportedly suggested it was not eligible due to surpassing the limit on pre-existing music. Zimmer's work incorporates thematic elements from his work on the first film. The score was not officially submitted at the time of that report. Despite this seeming setback, Warner Brothers Pictures isn't giving up without a fight, and Variety reports that Warner Brothers has now officially submitted Zimmer's composition for Academy consideration. They indicate that the company is hopeful that this innovative contributions to the film will meet the requirements and earn a nomination. The Academy's Music Branch Oscar shortlist voting period begins on December 9th, which is when we'll likely know if it made it. The 20 shortlisted scores will be revealed on December 17th. This is stupid. This is 100% this score should be in there, because it's a sequel to a movie. Of course, you're going to have the same types of themes back and forth, but the question is how much. Sure, but is it just the same songs over and over again? No, it's not. And they use it differently. This is a stupid. It's amazing how many stupid decisions the Academy makes every single year. This is on the top of the list this year. But John, are you feeling the same?
Yeah, it's really ridiculous. And it's at some point, I think this has to be a situation where they take it on a case by case basis. And I don't mean like, okay. And I mean like, this is blanket, whatever it is. No, you got to look at the situation, look at this thing, break it on down, talk to the director, talk to the composer, get some real analysis on this, and then go from there. This is such a negative thing to hang on the Oscars, which, by the way, is begging and desperate for ratings. I saw the Oscars out there with a cardboard sign saying that we'll do anything for ratings. And so this is when you're like this, and then you want to exclude massive hits like this for these technical reasons or these little small nitpicky reasons. It's kind of foolish. And I get it. Some of you composers are out there, the small composing communities out there. Oh, no, you have to honor. No, this is a situation where, look, this is a massive movie. This is an incredible composer.
Great score.
And a great score. So, let that stuff go. Let it be in contention. Enough, man. Stop this nonsense.
Steph, you like the fact that Dune was shut out of this because you hate Dune, right?
Yeah, I hate Dune, and I don't think it should have any awards. No, I think it's the best movie of the year. I don't know why they wouldn't be in every category that the Academy feels like they should be a part of. That when they make up these rules, I feel like I don't understand what rules we're going by in the first place.
Yeah,
it's so random.
Yeah, it is. It's very random, and it's like, come on, this little technical thing. It's like, of course, how do you not put this movie in there? I think what John said it best. It's one of the biggest hits of the year so far. It's beloved critically by audiences, and I saw this movie, and the score is one of the things that really stood out to me and kept me in my seat, because I wanted to listen to it all the way to the very end where the credits are rolling. And I've listened to it many times, whether I'm taking a walk with the dog, I put it on and I listen to it. It's just so, it sets the mood perfectly of what this movie is. And yeah, of course there's some themes that are familiar from the first one. It's a sequel.
Yes.
So this is so dumb. This is the dumbest thing. Yeah, go ahead, Steph.
And it's like I feel like oftentimes the Academy allows space for the first one to pass so the second one can get the recognition. Like I feel like we saw that with The Godfather, and there's been other sequels too where they've gotten the awards because the first one like let it sit, and they like people amongst us always talk about like, oh, they're probably waiting for the sequel to get those awards.
I'm sorry, but I did see the funniest comment in it. Regardless of what you think, this is a funny comment. Somebody said, "Please don't spoil the election results." That's hilarious.
No spoilers.
No spoilers.
That made me laugh.
All right.
That made me laugh.
You have
find out in April 14th when it's tax day.
Yeah.
Oh my God, that was funny.
Wait till it goes to digital. Then we can.
Oh, that was hilarious. Hilarious. Anyway, so yeah, the Oscars once again, to no one's surprise, has crapped the bed.
I want to say this, Chris. It's 20%. That's what the threshold is. 20%. That's all you're allowed, right? In terms of repeated cues, 20%, right? So this is the thing that I'm like, well, really? Because 20 is still. I mean, that means that 80%. So I think if you're over 6, I think if you hit 60%, it's an original score. And it should not be 80%. It should be 60%. How many of those Star Wars movies that we've seen have John Williams repeating a lot of the same scores, and those still get nominated?
The percentage is so, because it's like, okay, but wait a minute. The percentage of it, are you saying if there's the percentage of that theme, if it's just a rehash of the whole song, or are there new themes inside of it? Is there so much? It's like, it's a score. It's like, it's not the same. If it was like the same exact thing and he just took, and he didn't compose anything for it, and he said, you know what, guys, just take the tracks that I used from the first one and place them fittingly throughout the movie. Right. Then it's like, well, that's the same score. You're just taking the tracks from the thing. He's composing the music.
Yeah, I mean, Denise said, he came out with a statement and said, I was in the studio while he was composing all this music. It's nonsense. I think it should be 51-49. If you're over 50% original music, it qualifies.
If you compose, I go farther than that. Okay. If you actually composed it, even if you composed it again with a lot of the same songs, that's fitting a new movie, it's not the same movie. It's a different movie. Different beats, and you're composing it because you're like, oh, I'm going to use a lot of those themes because they're relevant to this, but I'm going to move this and put this here. You're composing it and you're placing it together. I don't care if it sounds the same. It's fitting to the movie because it's part of the franchise. Now, if he makes Inception 2 and uses, if Nolan makes Inception 2, brings on Zimmer, and then Zimmer puts the Dune soundtrack, the score on there, and just says, "Here, use this." And it's like that doesn't count. You can't do that. But I don't like this.
What if we did this with actors? What if we said Hugh Jackman? Now, he wasn't nominated for this, but a lot of people felt he should have been nominated for Logan. What if we said, you know what? We saw a lot of the same faces in the previous Wolverine movies. We didn't see 80% new faces. Right. Therefore, we can't nominate you for Best Actor because you're repeating the same role. Tom Cruise literally doing 80% the same facial in every movie that he's in. And I love Tom. I'm not being negative about Tom. But you can't nominate him because he's doing the same faces. An actor's performance is essentially a musician's composition. That is essentially the same thing. So to say that, well, they better bring 80% new stuff to the table or else they don't qualify, I think is utter nonsense. Just utter nonsense.
It really is.
It reminds me when my teachers used to make us turn in our projects or our reports on turnitin.com, which it like highlights any part that you could have cheated off the internet. But oftentimes, without a doubt, actually, your portion of of your writing would be like 20% cheating because it would say things like the Armenian genocide occurred in 1948, which is a text that's going to come up everywhere. Yeah. And it's like, obviously, you have a base for a theme, but then the rest of the movie is different. That's not a fair way to test.
No, it's not. Yeah. A movie that I think that will be heavily involved in the Academy Awards is Red One.
Yeah. It's a good sell. You guys both bought it. The Red One reviews are in. The reviews are now out for Amazon's Dwayne Johnson, Chris Evans holiday comedy Red One,
And the verdict is not good, everybody. The 4-quadrant action adventure comedy cost apparently $250 million to produce, partially due to reshoots, and hope to potentially launch a franchise. After the first reactions painted a poor picture the other day, Amazon opted to lift the embargo on the film as it opened in some international markets. The numbers so far paint a bleak picture. Some of the quotes says, the challenge is to balance the mayhem with the holly jolly to blow stuff up while also allowing troubled characters to find the nice in themselves and each other, and Red One fulfills both of those wish list items with a cheeky finesse. That's from Alonso Duralde. It doesn't seem like he disliked it too much. The mixture of laughs, sentiment, action should satisfy undemanding families, and the story's world building offers enough novelty to what otherwise can be predictable package. Okay, not too bad thus far. It is a movie that is playing in front of you. I can comfortably give it that much. And for one meant to summon up the Christmas spirit, there's not a whiff of mirth from the screenplay to the production level. He did not like it. If Red One were a disaster, it'd be more interesting. Instead, it's a technically passable action comedy, transparently stitched together from parts scavenged from other movies. Alison Wilmore. Red One could almost be the movie version of The Vampire Assassin 4. It's that busy and and that overstuffed with cheesy digital effects that generically derivative a piece of violent kitsch. That's from Owen Gleiberman. This is a high-concept, CG, saturated bore that lacks heart and infectious humor, even if it huffs and puffs its way to a little poignancy in the end. All right, that's enough. So we get it. It doesn't seem like anybody's like, I don't know, this is pretty good. I enjoyed it. Alonso Duralde, I think, had the nicest one, who said, like, yeah, it knows what it wants to be, and it's just but John, this doesn't surprise you at all, does it?
No, not a bit, not one bit. These trailers have been terrible, and so some people are afraid to speak out against The Rock or say anything negative against The Rock.
Now you're a turncoat.
Now, listen, I've interviewed him twice. I'm over the shtick. I'm over the mystique of The Rock. Like,
Yeah.
I love Dwayne Johnson as a person. I like him as a positive energy in the universe. I have no complaints about the human being as he is composed. However, this you saw from the trailers, this looked bad, and he's on a bit of a bad run with these movies lately. And it's kind of another, here's another one. And of course, the audience is going to watch this, and maybe they're going to get big numbers when it finally goes on streaming. And Dwayne will talk about that like he did with Black Adam. Like, he'll massage the narrative to make it seem like we're doing things for the fans, not the critics. We don't care about the critics. It's all that narrative, mumbo jumbo, blue collar-esque type approach to things. And so I appreciate that. But like, look, my brother Matt Neglia said it best. He goes, unfunny and visually repulsive. That's pretty strong commentary there. So this is the thing that I'm frustrated about with The Rock, and I think he knows it too, no matter what he says out loud. That's why he's working with the Safdie, one of the Safdie brothers on that new film.
Right.
He knows he can do better.
Yeah.
I think he sees Batista and he goes, I should be at that level where people respect my work and still be a populist actor. So it's that kind of situation. But man, this is bad on Chris Evans too. I don't know whose Chris Evans' team is, but brother, please, for the love of God, fire them and start over. All of your choices outside of Marvel have been almost terrible.
Well, Knives Out was all right.
Well, Knives Out, you're an ensemble. You're not the
Yeah.
lead. And
Right.
so, like, that's a different situation. But all the things where he is a co-lead or a lead, they haven't really been that good, other than the one he did with Dakota Fanning and Jenny Slate. I thought that was a really sweet film.
Okay.
But, like, most of the other stuff hasn't been strong. And so you have to ask yourself, like, Chris, what are you doing here?
Weren't you a big movie? You were a big fan of that movie he did with Ana de Armas. You love that movie.
Ghosted? Oh, my God.
That's bad.
And that wasted a great director in
Yeah.
Dexter Fletcher. So, yeah. Ugh.
Steph, what do you think about this? Do you think are you actually excited for this or no?
The moment I saw that ice snowman CGI, I was like, shit, that doesn't look good.
Right.
But I feel like I feel for The Rock in the sense that you do see like Dave Bautista and John Cena, even to me, has like just become so lovable on screen. I can't believe it. So I feel for him, and I do think he is a dad. So he's making a Christmas movie, and I don't think that they need to be amazing, but I do think when you're like relying on these huge CGI characters and all this big budget for a movie that isn't supposed to be like the best thing ever made, I don't really understand the business decision behind that.
I think that, look, the big thing with The Rock is that he's just chasing the dollar, right? It's like that's the main. He wants to keep making money, and that's the thing with people when they're rich. They want to get more rich, and he is right now, minus the Smashing Machine. He's still doing these movies that it's like he's just these big, huge movies. Dave Bautista ain't doing that. Dave Bautista's doing movies, small movies with Shyamalan. He'll take a shot at like that. What was that one that just came out? The Hitman, whatever the Hitman movie was, didn't do very well, but he still took a shot at that movie that just came out like a month ago, 2 months ago. It was like an action movie, comedy movie, whatever. But he'll go and then he'll do something small. He'll do a big movie. He'll do something ensemble. He'll do something like Dune. So he's doing it right. I think The Rock is pretty much because Bautista very much after. And he did start to do this at first, where he was doing these movies where like, oh, he's just looking to basically be what The Rock is and do the big studio movies. And he stopped and he said, no, I'm going to take this role. I want to work with this kind of director. And that's what The Rock needs to do. The Rock needs to start doing it. Chris Evans he's another one. He's done smaller movies, you know.
That's a more confounding one.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Because The Rock is The Rock is a massive entertainer. He's a populist, man. Like that guy is all over the global world, right? Chris Evans is an actor, and so you see him through a different prism, and you wonder why he's making the choices that he's making overall. And he seems like a genuinely awesome dude. Like that's part of it too. Is I don't hate Chris. It's more a matter of like, and I want so much for you. Like, why aren't you picking better things
you hope,
to be a part of?
You want to see him do better things. All right, our last story before we get to these questions, because you guys are trying to take the title this week. Well, let's talk. This was going to be our original thing we're going to lead with. Stranger Things. Did we get any details from the actual titles that they released? And I forget. Steph, you're a Stranger Things fan, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Roca?
Of course.
Okay. So yesterday was Stranger Things Day, and to celebrate the corporately marketed out occasion, Netflix has officially revealed the episode titles for the show's 5th and final season. It premieres next year. The final season will consist of 8 episodes, which is expected to be released all at once. Boo. And a recently released video showcases the titles, which are as follows: The Crawl, The Vanishing of ... The Turbo Trap, Sorcerer, Shock Jock, Escape from Kamazos, and The Bridge, and The Right Side Up. The second episode title has a word or two, but the clip deliberately covers it over, likely as it refers to a known character. Filming on the final season officially begins in January this year, and it is said to be done. Set in the fall of 1987, just over a year after the past season, the final run will star Winona Ryder, David Harbour, Millie Bobby Brown, Finn Wolfhard, Gaten Mazzaro, Dustin Henderson, Caleb McLaughlin, and Sadie Sink. So there's a whole bunch of other people in it too. Okay. So any of these titles stand out? Because I think that what's the sister's name of
Max.
What?
Max?
No, not Max. The one the one that's dating what's his Mikey's Mikey's sister.
Nancy.
Nancy. I think Nancy's the one that's missing in that question mark. But okay. Steph, how excited are you for this? And this is one thing I will say before I get your opinion on this, Steph. As much as I did boo the idea of not doing it weekly, because I feel that Stranger Things, if they put Stranger Things out week to week, it's such a water cooler show that it would be in the headlines for 8 weeks, no questions asked. The only counter I have to that is that these seasons truly feel like big, long films. And like the whole season is one film. And that's why they call it Stranger Things 5. So what do you think of these titles, and how excited are you for it?
I think they sound good. I do wish it was week to week, but that's just not how Netflix does it. I do like that they're doing these parts. I know that they're doing it with Arcane season 2, as much as I'd like to just binge it all at once. I think it's smart to do a part 1 and part 2. It worked for Bridgerton, so it probably works with their bigger shows. I think this season's going to be great. I love a series that knows how good it is and knows when to end the story. So I appreciate that they said this is going to be the final season, right?
It's the final season.
Yeah. So I'm excited about that. As much as I want it to keep going, I do feel like we're going to be at a good place to land.
There's an end game.
Yeah.
John, how do you feel about these titles? Anything stands out?
Yeah, I mean, the first one, Crawl. I mean, as I was saying with Max, what was the big song, Running Up That Hill, the Kate Bush? They brought that one back. Is this all Max is able to do is crawl. So there's questions on that. And the vanishing of mirrors the vanishing of Will Byers. So you might be right, Christian, that it could be about Nancy. Sorcerer is interesting because people remember that 80s film, that guilty pleasure Sorcerer film. So I wonder if that's an allusion to that. Shock Jock, certainly the 80s is when Shock Jock started to happen with Howard Stern, Don Imus, a lot of things. So what is that connected to? What is that presenting? But Kamazatz is interesting because Kamazatz is like a Mayan god. It's death. It means death bat. So where are we connected to that? And Kamazatz is also in A Wrinkle in Time, Madeleine L'Engle's film. So what are they referencing here with that? So there's a lot of questions when you look at it. And at the end, the last one, right side up, that makes sense, right? Because that seems to be, instead of the upside down, we're in the right side up. So maybe a happy ending in this whole thing. But do you guys think everyone survives? Like, who dies? Do you guys have any thoughts on who might die?
I would say either Mikey. Right? It's Mikey, right?
Yeah, Mikey.
Yeah, or I would say probably. I think Mikey's your best bet. You can't do Steve because Steve they tease Steve dying too many different times. Or Nancy, Mikey or Nancy. I think one of those two. What do you think? Or Will's brother. Will's brother.
You really want people to remember this season?
Yeah.
11.
I was thinking that.
Yeah, it could happen too.
Do you know what I'm saying? Because she's her sacrificing herself for the entire crew would make all the sense in the world.
You could see some serious tears coming from David Harbour on that one too.
Yeah.
You probably you know what, you say that and it makes a lot of sense. Yeah, it makes a lot of sense. It also caused my daughter to be very upset.
Yeah.
All righty, listen. We covered a lot of stuff and we are going to get into your questions. I'm going to let Roka and Steph know where they stand right now in just a bit, actually, because we've got to tell you guys before we get into this. AG1 I've told you about so many different times, and our friends over at BetterHelp. Here you go. AG1, I'm always excited to talk about them because you're looking for a holiday gift, you got it. Now, the perfect present is the gift of health. AG1, it checks the box. I heard about AG1 when I started doing podcasting by myself. They had said, hey, check this out. I tried it out. I loved it. And they've been with me. If you've been listening to this show for 2 years, then you have been hearing about AG1. That's how long they've been with me. I ditched everything else that I was doing. I was never a vitamins person. And now I'm just AG1. It helps your gut health. I've got better sleep because of it. It has kept me healthy. So there is something great for me, what I do. And I still have had this same Zoo Cup that I've been telling you about forever. I mix it up with water, 1 scoop, done. That's my day. So this holiday season, try AG1 for yourself or even gift it to someone special. It's the perfect time to focus on supporting your body with an easy and surprising delicious daily health drink. And that's why I've been partnered with AG1 for so long. Every week of November, AG1 is going to be running a special Black Friday offer for a free gift with your first subscription, in addition to the welcome kit with the vitamin D3 and K2. So make sure you check out drinkag1.com/bigthing to see what gift you can get this week. That's drinkag1.com/bigthing and start your holiday off on a healthier note while supplies last. This episode is sponsored by BetterHelp. I want to take a second before I even start this, and I want to thank my buddy Mark Ellis. Mark's a guy that I've known for a very long time. I get a chance to talk to since I moved to New York. I speak to him all the time, the same amount of time I did when I was in LA. He's a great friend. He's someone who's always there for me, and I love him to death. I love him like a brother. Now, the reason I bring Mark up is because this month is all about gratitude. And along with Mark Ellis, there's another person that we really don't thank enough. That's ourselves. It's something hard to remind ourselves that we are trying our best to make sense of everything. And in this crazy world, that ain't easy. So here's a reminder. Send some thanks to the people in your life, including yourself. BetterHelp it's online therapy. Roxy Stryer talks about it all the time, how when I suggested it to her, it has changed her life dramatically. People in my family changed their lives dramatically. It really does help. So if you're thinking of starting therapy, you got to give BetterHelp a try. It's online, it's designed to be convenient, it's flexible, and it's suited to your schedule. You fill out a brief questionnaire, you get matched with a licensed therapist, you switch therapists anytime, no additional charge. So let the gratitude flow with BetterHelp. You got to visit BetterHelp.com/bigthing today. You get 10% off your first month. BetterHelp, HELP.com/bigthing. All right. Thank you to our friends over at both BetterHelp and, of course, AG1. I tell people, each and every time you want to support the show, you want to get something for yourself that'll help you out, go in the link in our description, click it. All right. So, guys, you're both... So, John, you started off strong this week. Roxy and Brett came in firing with 89 questions. Now, normally, if you start off with like 40 going into question time, you're in good shape. Currently, you guys are at 110.
Yeah.
So Capes and Cowls tomorrow is the only shot to take out. But we're not over yet because they can still add a bunch of questions here going into this. Before we do it, Steph, I want to do something before we get into these questions, so in case we don't run out of time later. What's going on with the World Girls? Where can they find it?
Oh, at the World Girls on YouTube, 6 p.m. on Wednesdays always.
And John Roca, what's going on your channel, man?
You can find me on the World Girls, 6 p.m. every Wednesday. No, it's
yes.
YouTube.com/John Roca Says. That is the Outlaw Nation. A lot of stuff happening. We got Geek Buddies later on today. Hot Mic tomorrow instead of today. Tomorrow live at 3 p.m. PT. And Winston and I will lock down some Spill the Tequila soon. So come and hang out there.
When you launch that channel?
Very soon, Christian. I had to take a couple days.
Right,
Stop pressuring me, Dad.
Fine. All right, first question here. And this one is from Beho26. The whole reason we had... Steph, I need you to... I know you don't go back and watch. Well, there's two things. One, I know you lied to me because I asked you to watch... There was something I asked you to watch last week, and you said by this time next week you'd watch it. You don't remember what it was, and I don't remember either.
Yes, I do.
What was it?
Battlestar.
Oh, that's right. The pilot. You didn't watch it, right? Right. No. You lied to me. Okay. So
I did. Yes, that's messed up.
What I would tell you is to watch Thursday's episode because I think it was the best episode we've done maybe ever. There was no movies talked about. It was just complete chaos because of our good friend. On this Thursday, it was me, Brett, or this past Tuesday, it was me, Brett, and Roxy. And it was absolute just chaos. We didn't concentrate on anything. It was, if you were looking for the in-depth discussion, you'd be very upset. And Beho26 was the catalyst of all that because he just isn't a fan of the silliness. And he wrote, we were like, I think it was like a minute into it, and we did something, and he wrote that, and then the whole show turned into that. But he wrote, I'm a big fan of the discussions, the interviews, and the relaxed vibe. But when it gets too goofy, it reminds me of SEN Live, and it just has me tuning out. If I nitpick, the very least I can do is still show support as well. And there was nothing he did that was wrong on that show. It was just the conversation of just like, hey, you're gonna get complete lunacy every once in a while, so you got to deal with it. And he did just that. Lot of support that you're gonna...
Good Samaritan.
Yes, you're gonna see a lot of support from Derek Johnson that I'm gonna highlight. Ian Davis also says, who is your favorite Star Wars character from episodes 1 to 3? Your favorite from 4 to 6, and who's your pick from 7 to 9? Has to be an individual from those trilogies. Favorite character from 1 to 3 is Palpatine. Favorite from 4 to 6 is Luke. Favorite from 7 to 9 for me is Rey. Roca, who do you got?
Solo, of course, from the original trilogy is my number one. I guess Obi-Wan from the prequel trilogy. Sure. You guys know I'm not a big fan of the prequel trilogy. And from the sequel, absolutely Rey. I know people love Kylo. Yeah. Rey was my late. I loved Rey. I don't go with the emo kids, so I'm a big fan of Rey.
Steph?
From the original trilogy, Yoda.
Hey.
From 1 through 3, Obi-Wan.
Mm-hmm.
And from the sequel trilogy, Rey. Could have been Finn.
If he didn't yell all the time.
Finn if they gave him an arc.
Yeah,
agreed.
If they didn't leave him in the mud yelling Rey,
right,
then maybe him.
Pretty sad. Okay, so we're gonna try to knock through these. Just in case, what kind of out do I have for both of you guys? Because we have a lot of questions. I want to make sure that we got you. What's up, John?
I'm good. I'm good.
Okay.
I'm good.
Steph, what's your dead out?
Flexible.
Okay. Let's see. All right, here we go. This is Roman Fedorak. Hey all, it's been a rough week, but happy and grateful to be here today with you lovely individuals. Steph, your reaction to Transformers 1 was crazy and awesome to watch. Did you just watch? So you just did the reaction?
Yeah, okay. I did it like a week ago, and I never watched the trailer or anything.
Good.
So spoiler if you haven't watched the trailer, but I feel like everyone else knew this was happening. Yeah. I didn't know it was an origin story.
Oh, okay, good. Oh, good. Wow. So
I was like, oh, I love these besties.
Yeah.
Besties for life. And then you can imagine my devastation when I found out who the hell that was.
That's hilarious. That's hilarious. So I actually just did a reaction for it myself with my friend Tina, I didn't tell her at all what it was, what she was watching, and that comes out for us on Friday. So yours is up. Good. Yours is up too. So that's great. I'm glad that you had a chance to react to it because it's really, really great. Derek Johnson, he writes, I know a lot of us feel down due to certain events, and I'm going to immerse myself in entertainment. I save my money, divest from new things, work harder, and keep those I love close. I hope we all can try to look forward through this. Thank you, Derek. Very nice.
Thank you.
Yes. And Roman Fedorak, speaking of Transformers, which one of you all do you think is the worst of the Bay bunch? All of them. For me, I still say 2, but I also stopped watching after 3. You're lucky, and I'm jealous that you stopped watching them. I would say that if you want to say that the first one is good, congratulations. But that's probably the best of them. There's no good Michael Bay Transformers movie. John, you agree? Why?
I disagree 1,000%, and you know why I disagree. But no, yeah, the second one is the worst one, Revenge of the Fallen. It's got a lot of racist things in it, and just, I know he can be quite. Let's put all these hot ladies and stuff, and it went a little far in the second one. So I don't even watch the second one, but I was watching Age of Extinction the other night for like an hour. So I love these movies. I can't explain it. I just love it as a kid watching them. So they're all good to me except for that second one.
Sure. Steph?
I think, first of all, where were you in the comments supporting me when I was absolutely getting mollywopped by all the Michael Bay stands?
Yeah.
I think that probably Transformers 3, when they just deleted Megan Fox and were like,
yeah,
we didn't like her anyways. Such nasty work commentary written into the movie. I can't.
No, what they need to do is, speaking of delete, they need to still delete
the next hot model.
They need to delete those movies off the server. That's what they need to do.
How dare
you? Ewok, rank these 2025 shows in order of your level of excitement.
Ooh.
Stranger Things, Severance, and/or Daredevil, Night of the Seven Kingdoms. That's a great list. Order of excitement. Shoot. I would have to say my number 1 out of those is probably Andor season 2. I would say that's my number 1. Number 2 is probably Stranger Things. 3 is Severance. 4, oh man, I'm gonna say Daredevil because I don't know enough about the Game of Thrones show. So I'll only put in Game of Thrones last because I don't know anything about it. But Steph, what do you feel about that list? Again, it's Stranger Things, Severance, Andor, Daredevil, Knights of the Seven Kingdoms.
I would put Andor, then
Andor,
Stranger Things 3rd.
Yep.
And then what was the other one?
Stranger Things, Severance, Andor, Daredevil, Knights of the Seven Kingdoms.
So I would do Andor, Severance, Stranger Things. Probably Daredevil. Okay. And then Knights of the Seven Kingdoms.
Yeah, same. So, John, what about you?
Yeah, Andor, Stranger Things,
Severance.
No. What are the other
Daredevil.
Daredevil. Yeah.
Okay, and then Severance.
Andor, then Severance, because I haven't seen season 1.
So you haven't seen season 1. Oh, okay. Yeah. You need to. It's great.
But I know everyone says it's great, so I gotta watch.
That'll jump on your list. Ewok. Yeah. Which 1982 film had the best score? E.T., Conan the Barbarian, Blade Runner, The Thing, or that was it. The Thing. Okay, so which 82 film had the best score? Out of those, Conan the Barbarian's pretty damn good. I would say E.T. though.
Blade Runner.
Yeah,
John, you go with that.
Blade Runner is what I listen to nap, what I listen to write, what I listen to meditate. So to me, Blade Runner, that score is incredible.
I have to revisit it. It's not. Mike Joyce asks, why isn't In Living Color available to stream? I don't know.
I don't know. Yeah. I ask this all the time. You have to go on YouTube and find stuff.
I was going to say, you could probably find the whole season. Me too.
Yeah.
Arbiter of black culture, Christian Harloff. Tell me why in living color.
That's right. I don't know. I don't know.
It's probably rights issues and probably deals
for sure.
with the actors.
There's no deal.
Tim Curry,
there's no deal that was made. They didn't sell it to anybody. Cinema Fan 324. Jaws gets ripped open and smile. Wait, Jaws gets ripped open and Smile 2? Sounds like my kind of movie. Also, has Steph seen Smile 2 yet?
No, I haven't even seen Smile 1.
I saw Smile 1 and 2. I don't remember Jaws getting ripped open, but that's not to say that it didn't happen. I just put the movie out of my mind. Not that it was bad. It's just gone. But that doesn't say anything because my memory is shot. I was talking about, because we just released the Warrior reaction.
Yeah.
And we were talking.
Oh, so good.
It's the best. And I knew that I had interviewed Frank Grillo before. I remember he was on Collider Live. And I remember, and I said, I was like, I really wish I would have asked him about Warrior, right? I did. I had a whole conversation with him about Warrior. I watched it last night.
That changed his life, right?
No, he was already doing stuff, but like it helped him within MMA stuff I just started watching Kingdom, which is
right. Well, I'm saying Gavin sat him down and said, "What do you want to be? Do you want to be a good actor, or do you want to go straight to DVD films?"
Did you?
And Gavin, yeah. Well, I spoke with him when I had the show.
Did you see Kingdom?
I did not see Kingdom, but that's
on watching it. It's awesome. I'm like 2 episodes in. I love it.
He's great on Tulsa.
Wait, isn't there another show called Kingdom on Netflix?
Yeah, that's the Korean zombie.
Okay.
South Korean zombie.
Yeah. Ewok. I love Ridley Scott. When told Tarantino was retiring after 10 films, he said, "I don't effing believe that bullshit. Shut up and go make another movie." That's what Ridley Scott said. And it's like I agree. Don't make announcements that you're going to retire. It's like you're not going to retire. The guy is built to making movies. He's not going to retire. There's no world he's going to retire. So I agree with Sir Ridley Scott on that.
So over Tarantino.
I know you are. You really are. Roman Fedorak saw an article on Collider that Simon Kinberg is apparently getting a Star Wars trilogy.
What?
But I think he clearly wrote that before we started. Remember, we got a lot of questions that came in before we even started the show. I don't know what Lucasfilm is doing anymore. Neither do we, Roman. Neither do we. So, Ewok, will Kinberg's Star Wars trilogy be episodes 10 to 12? Well, that's kind of the rumor. We don't really know yet. I hope not. I hope the answer is no. I think that they should stay away from it. And for once, Kathleen Kennedy actually says something, and it's true, where she said like they're not going to do anything past it. They should leave it alone. Beto Power, $400 for movies that will never. $400 for movies that will never happen. Any Star Wars announcements connected to sequels. Oh, I got it. $400 for movies. Now I got it. $400 for movies that will never happen on any Star Wars announcement connected to Star Wars sequels, whatever. Support. Thank you, sir. Derek Johnson coming in hot today for you, John.
Hey, thank you, Derek.
Now, Fallen District. No lie, though. I'm about to go to bed. Well, good night. See you.
Good night.
Good night. Have a good nap. Yeah, you guys are, John, at this pace, I'll tell you right now, I think you had like 135 or something. Was it the record? You're in pace right now to break that record.
We are. Steph. I mean, Steph, I said, when Steph was beating me before, I can't match Steph's charm. So the fact you got both
together,
of us,
I know this is, I know, and a Star Wars trilogy topic.
Oh, trilogy question. Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah. Dennis Hoffman, wasn't Kinberg one of those architects in 2012? What was his Boba Fett movie about? You spoke to Trank. So I did speak to Trank for quite a while. Do you remember that? That was so surreal. I still have a pretty good relationship with Josh.
That's good.
But so when all that stuff, remember when that whole thing, when he tweeted out and it all went crazy? Like,
yes,
right before Fantastic Four came out and all that. So he like DM'd myself and Campia and was like, hey, I'll talk to you guys. And for 2 days straight, we were on the phone for him for like 3 hours per conversation.
Wow.
And like, he told us a lot, stuff that I'm not going to talk about because it's to this day. I said, he probably wouldn't give a crap. It was so long ago, but I mean, he was working on a lot of things Boba Fett related, and this has nothing to do with conversations he said. But I knew because I remember when I asked Kinberg about there was these Boba Fett. It looks like the Legends of the Bounty Hunter or whatever it was. That's where Kinberg wanted to do his Boba Fett movie from, and I asked him that, and he looked like a deer in headlights when I asked him that. Like he was like, "How in the world did you know that?" That's why when I tell people. When they're like, why are you so hard on Filoni? Maybe trust in me on that one. Maybe trust in me. Derek Johnson, support. Thank you,
Thank you, Derek.
Okay, so Derek's really coming in hot for you guys today too.
Love it.
Thanks, Derek.
Simon Section, Star Wars Episode 10, The Force Correction. That's great. Ray Skywalker is missing. Hilarious.
My God.
Mike Joyce, John, I hope Dorina will be a frequent guest on your new political channel. Your passion is unmatched. We need an Impolite Truths 2.0 more than ever.
Thank you very much. Yeah, for those who don't know, I will be launching that very soon. It's going to be called Speak Up with John Roca. And Dorina and I have already had conversations.
Nice.
I couldn't use Impolite Truths because Dorina holds on to that very strongly and correctly so because of the connections with Carlin. So I had to change it. But Dorina said she'd be happy to come on. So let me get it established. But I will be very excited to have La Bruja come back and hang out with me for sure.
Mark Campos says this is the best channel with the best guests around. I'm glad you guys are liking it. I like how we developed this show and how you're going to get it. And I also said this was going to happen where you can take people from the Monday show, put them on the Thursday show, and maybe Steph, you can come on a Monday show one of these days with us too. Should be great.
Okay.
Yeah. Albert Glowacki. Roca is the man. Saturday Night Movie is highly underrated. Now that you're in New York, you got to collab with Striffler again. I haven't talked to Eric in quite a long time. I like Eric. He's a good guy.
Such a good movie.
But I do want to see Saturday Night. Is it out on virtual on digital already?
Hey, I'll check real quick while you check some other answers.
Cool. So Pete Parker 2288. I wanted to ask everyone what's an underrated martial arts film. I know it's bad, but I like the one with Jet Li. Also, Birth of the Dragon 2016. You want a bad one that's awesome to watch? Is No Retreat, No Surrender. It's like when Van Damme's the bad guy. And the kid, he's basically trained by Bruce Lee's ghost. And at the end of it, because Van Damme's like this bad Russian. Have you ever seen this movie, John?
Yes, of course. I saw all the Van Damme movies.
When he's in the corner and he goes, "You're good," and he goes, and the kid goes, "I get better," and Van Damme gets all pissed off. It's hilarious. So I would say watch that. No Retreat, No Surrender. It's horrendous, but it's a really fun watch.
It is bad.
Do you have any underrated martial arts movies, guys?
No.
It's hard to know what's underrated because I feel like a lot of martial arts movies are just underrated in general.
Yeah,
'cause most people don't in the States don't watch as many of them. So he said one Fearless did he say?
He said
Jet Li's movie.
Yeah, he said Jet Li is the one. Is what he said.
Oh yeah.
Oh, the one. The one's good. Yeah. Okay, that's underrated. Maybe Fist
of Fury.
Fist of Legend.
Oh, okay.
It's another Jet Li movie.
Oh, got it. Okay, those are good ones here. Derek Johnson, can we really blame Disney anymore for this Star Wars confusion? Lucasfilm needs a complete overhaul. Thank you, Derek. Also, why isn't Dave Filoni, who's supposed to be the Feige now of Star Wars, why isn't he announcing this information? Well, but he does at the now they smartly, and Steph and I used to talk about this all the time. When they used to have Kathleen Kennedy read the monitors at D23 and the other things, it's like that's about as genuine as me saying I love math, and it's like it is so it's come on, stop it. And now they do have Filoni out there. I think Filoni and Favreau did it last time. So at those types of events, but this is not something that a Feige would come out and announce like, hey, we have a trilogy coming out. And again, to be fair to them, as I don't want to just crap on them all the time if it's not warranted. And this is not something that they wanted to announce. Someone peeked around and got the information, and they did. And Filoni's not going to be the one to say it unless it was like an event. So if it was an event or something, and if they were in a position where people really cared and got excited when, remember that whole big thing that Feige did at in Hollywood, and it was like when they announced Chadwick Boseman as Black Panther for the first time and all that. Yeah, they were riding the high that it was like they were like rock stars. Marvel when Star Wars comes out, like AEW venues. Yeah, it's like nobody there.
Right.
All right, next one, and this one, I thought the AEW comment would have gotten a bigger pop from you, John.
AEW.
You didn't hear what I said. You didn't even hear it. It went right over your head.
I was looking for something on digital. It's not out.
All right,
yet.
So good. So the fact that you didn't hear it makes me feel better.
What's the question?
Nothing question. I said that when Marvel was doing it, it was like rock stars. I said now when Star Wars shows up to an event, it's like an AEW venue.
That's true.
Thank you.
There's nobody in the stands.
I just did a Paulie from Sopranos. You hear what I says to him? Nick Alexander. Let's hope this goes well or goes the same way as every other announced Star Wars movie. Are they trying to be the most shocking news this week? That was good. It made all three of us laugh on that.
Hold my beer.
Yeah, it was really good. That was amazing. All right. To Max Swag. Peppa is kind of fire though. Do you know when
Peppa is fire?
Do you know I'm sure you guys go down this rabbit hole where there's like on Instagram you're looking at reels that there's like one particular thing you just can't stop watching. Have you guys what's it, the Omegle? You know that Omegle app? I've never used it before too, but you know the Omegle, like those videos they have, the Omegle videos. Have you seen these when they pop on?
No.
You've probably seen them where there's one that's really popular with this kind of crazy bald guy with this mustache and he pops and he scares these people all the time. But there's one.
Oh.
Yeah, but have you seen the one? Have you seen the Kermit ones?
Kermit? No.
Oh my God, it's really hilarious. Like he shows up in full Kermit voice and he's like, "Hey, how's it going?" I can't do a Kermit. But he's like, "Hey, how's it going?" And the people go, "Oh, it's so nice to see you, Kermit." He's like, "Oh yeah, it's nice, right?" And he brings a big cucumber out of his back, and it's like this huge thing. And it's like they don't know what to do. They start laughing their asses off because it's literally Kermit with a big huge cucumber, and it's like, dude, it is fucking hilarious. It's so,
oh my God.
So bad. I showed Sadie today. She's like, that is not funny. The Cali kid. My top pick to write and direct is Greta Gerwig. For the trilogy, I don't think it's a smart move.
Oh, what? Yeah, no.
No, I don't think it's a smart move. Not for a new trilogy. You're trying to get off the ground. She's
not a mainstream trilogy. No.
Nah. A Star Wars movie in general, sure, 100%. Love to see it. Even though she still gets shit for it, she should absolutely do one because she's really good and she's firing off. Especially if her Narnia movies turned out to be great. But
right.
New trilogy.
That goes.
Yeah. Bobby Jackson. Since Kinberg is a producer at heart, do you think this is a soft handoff to Kinberg to eventually run Lucasfilm after Kathleen Kennedy is gone? It might be an interview, you know what I mean? It might be them basically saying, let's see, here's your audition. What can you do? And if he delivers on it, who knows? It's not outside the realm. Look, on the positive side of things, if the movie of all three of them is the best thing that they've put out since the original trilogy, right?
Yeah.
Then there's that conversation of, then there's a conversation that should happen of, Simon, let's have some conversations. If they're subpar and they just make money and then you bring them in, then it's just, again, dopey decision making by both Lucasfilm and Disney. You guys disagree on that, John?
No. That's great.
No.
Okay.
Yep, absolutely agree.
All right. Moving down the line here too. And we got Jim 1. How do you think that the election will impact Hollywood? I can see less reliance on celeb endorsements. They clearly didn't help Harris's appeal to normal voters. So John and I actually spoke about this a little bit on the phone the other day.
Yeah, yesterday.
And I think that one of the things that, and this is not a stance or anything else too, but I think that it is very clear inside of what happened on Tuesday is that California lives in Hollywood lives in its own bubble. And I think that what happens sometimes with Hollywood is that they say, well, this is what everybody feels. And then they put a spotlight on the things that they feel is the most important, and they shine it out through movies and television. And they don't realize that not everybody feels that way. And there are some things that should be, but there's other things just like, hold back, and I've talked about this many different times. It's like, who are you making these movies for overall in general? And I do think that it will impact it in a certain aspect, maybe for some really good and for some really bad. But I don't know, John, what do you think about it? Do you think it's going to impact Hollywood at all?
I mean, we don't have an hour, so I would say, I do think though that what we're going to see is more content that will veer towards, for lack of a better term, the red state point of view. And I think we've seen that a little bit, and I don't mean overall with the Taylor Sheridan stuff. I just finished watching the first season of Lioness. That's a great combo that shows both points of views about American involvement in foreign wars, right? And it's a fascinating show that shows that. So I think we're going to see more of that mixture of that mentality coming into the content. I also think there's going to be a very strong pushback. Hollywood always pushes back when people who they deem to be a bit out there and a bit more dictatorial come into power. And look at the 70s. That's all a reflection of Nixon and what was going on in Vietnam. That's some of the greatest cinema we've ever seen in questioning the systemic injustice going on in our country. Look throughout the entire 70s. It's full of it. So I think we're going to see a new age of incredible filmmaking from filmmakers who are inspired to push back against what they see as a authoritarian regime that has come into power. That's what I would think. But the Zaslavs of the world are going to want to push more of those of the red stake type of content to come out more of from a theatrical or feature film point of view, with more of the studio behind that kind of content rather than buried somewhere on a January, February release. That's what I think.
What do you think, Steph?
I think that I don't know if we're gonna change who we're making movies for and TV shows, because I don't even know if some people who are super far right, this is like I don't know, this could be wrong, but I don't know if they what kind of art they appreciate. So I don't know how to make that that call.
Yeah.
If I were to guess, I'd get probably in trouble. In terms of celebrity endorsements, I've never been a fan, nor do I care that much. I think like some people feel the pressure or feel the need to hear their favorite celebrity endorse someone. I could care less. That doesn't influence me at all. And I think if it influences you, that's a little odd. But that's just my personal opinion on that. And I think the DNC obviously needs to take a hard look at where they pressed on and show, and like Star Wars, decide that probably that wasn't the right way.
Right. Well, yeah, all really good answers. And again, appreciate the question. Next one. This is from Jack. Have you guys and Big Balls watched Anora yet? I haven't seen Anora yet, but John, have you seen that one yet?
No, I will be seeing it either later today or tomorrow.
Steph?
No, I'm excited too. I like his work.
Steph, I'm going to make you sad.
Oh no.
You don't know the news. Big Balls is he's currently dead.
Okay, but did we see if there's no face, there's no case? Did we see a body?
He can rise from the dead. What happened was that the roadcaster that I had that had his ability crapped out on me on Monday when I came into the studio, and it was bad. I was panicking because I was like, I don't have this in general, and I remembered that I had the old roadcaster in the closet over here, and I found it, plugged it in, worked, but now he's not around. There's other things that I need. People are like, "Oh, the levels are off on the audio, and it's cackling a little bit." I'm like, "Yeah, it's because it's the old thing. I'm trying." So I did put it as an Amazon wish list, but the likelihood of it's going to take.
Oh my gosh, we need if not for anything, Big Balls needs to return.
It's going to be a while. It's not cheap. All right. So next one is Jason Crosby, who writes, "Who would you consider to be a highly overrated director? Someone who just doesn't understand someone you just don't understand why they keep getting movies made. For me, it's Tarantino." Wow. Only movie I enjoy is Pulp Fiction. The rest are either okay, or just bad. Well, I thoroughly disagree with that, but it's your opinion. I look forward to his movies like their events. I would say, but they're not. But this isn't I think that it's more of an answer for me of how I don't understand how they keep getting movies made, and that's Rupert. Is it Sanders? Is that the one? Just did The Crow, right?
Yeah.
I don't understand how he keeps getting movies made. And Len Weissman, the two of them.
Oh, Len Weissman.
The two of them. Yeah. So those are the two that I don't. But I don't necessarily. Yeah, I would say Len Weissman. I think is overrated because they keep giving him jobs, and clearly Chad Stileski was like, "Oh my God, I got to go in there and finish this whole thing," because Ballerina turned out to be exactly what we thought it would. Do you guys have overrated directors?
I don't. Fine. Tim Burton. That hurts me to say. I mean, I think when he first started, certainly Batman Begins, Beetlejuice, but I think over the last 20 to 30 years, I've just been like, where are you, man? What are you doing? Even the Beetlejuice sequel was not great.
Nah.
He's vibing, John. He's vibing, and he's curating a vibe for us.
Yeah, I'm sure he is. Right. But yeah, I tried, I watched Dark Shadows. I've seen almost every one of his films in the theater, almost every single one. And I've just been like, Dumbo even was such a letdown.
Oh, Dumbo was crap.
There's so many that I'm just like, what?
Yes. So, Steph, you got one?
Not really.
Oh.
Well, because I totally disagree with Quentin Tarantino. He's
Me too.
He's only made a handful of films, so it's not like we're
Yeah.
giving him these films, and to me they're all great scripts, whether or not some of them are too long. I usually think they are, but I do think they're great scripts and they look great. So maybe the movies that really haven't hit for me that much, but I just love the guy, is Shyamalan.
Yeah, I understand why he's getting movies up, because especially he was very smart. He pivoted into the Blumhouse idea of make movies for nothing.
Right.
Don't
So it's like, why
overspend.
that doesn't bother me or hurt the business. It's
No.
actually like very cool filmmaking. It just, his movies haven't worked for me as much.
Yeah, I was like, I don't love Trap, but I'll watch any movie he does because he doesn't overspend. He doesn't.
Right.
He makes movies, and he clearly loves making movies. I like him.
So it's fun.
Steph, our good buddy Miguel Fernandez, Star Wars News.
Hi.
So what the hell's going on? I'm away for 2 hours, and when I check back on my phone, it's blowing up with the Kinberg news. I am genuinely shocked. Have a great day. Miguel's great. Yeah, I think everybody's shocked.
Miguel, what are your thoughts?
I'm very curious what his thoughts are. And I don't know if, and Miguel, please correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't know if Star Wars Newsnet really does a lot of like, it's more, it skews more positive, I feel, right? Like if they have,
yes,
it does, which is fine. But I don't feel like if they really have like a big issue with it, that they write articles like that. I could be wrong. I could absolutely be wrong. I just remember for the most part, it's pretty positive, but it doesn't have to be, it doesn't have to be an opinion piece. It could just be saying the news.
That's my answer. Eli Roth. That's my answer. I don't know how this guy keeps getting work. Everything he does is terrible. It's so frustrating to see him getting work and constantly getting directing work.
He's good in the room.
He's not that good.
He's
Move
good
away, Tim Burton. At least I enjoyed something in Tim Burton.
Eli Roth. He's good. He's good in the room.
I don't get it.
Shay Markell, proof that Dune score should be included in nomination is I played it in the background while studying for 2 hours a night for 6 months this year. For sure. I've been telling you, it's a great score. It's really good. Mike's Movie Madness. Hey, Christian, I just started my YouTube channel and I need advice. I work a full-time job, so finding the time to make consistent videos is hard. Should I worry about that or just make videos when I can? The answer is yes, make videos when you can. However, I don't know what your status is as far as if you're married, if you have children, that plays into it, right? If you don't, then what I would say is find time, or even find time on the weekend, find time at night after work, shoot a video, edit, put it up at least one a week, and schedule it out and structure it out. Consistency is the most important. It is the most important thing of all YouTube, is that you got to be consistent, right? So in finding the time is, if you can find time, because this is what somebody always said, and again, I don't know your situation. It's one thing where I have 3 kids, I have a lot of responsibilities, it's very hard for me to find any free time. Then I say, I really get it, but you got to try to find that time to do it. If you have free time, you're like, oh, I'm tired from work and I'm getting home now and I just want to sit back and watch TV for 2 hours, that's 2 hours you can be making a video. So if you really want to do this, that is. So yeah, it just depends on your situation, but I would find your free time, make some, and put one out at least once a week, for sure. Jason Crosby. Bro, John, do you have any advice to that?
Yeah, shut it down. We don't need another competitor. Everything Christian said is correct. Everything Christian said is correct.
Jason Crosby, fully prepared for the hate from that question, by the way. He was talking about the Tarantino thing.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. So next one. You guys very well might set the record today, by the way.
Hey,
Luke Skywalker.
Nice.
I love Joseph Kosinski for the new Star Wars trilogy. I'd like him to direct it. If it's a good written thing, sure. I mean, he did a great job with Top Gun, so why not?
Yeah.
Mike Joyce, I just wanted to thank you guys for creating a fun space to be in a soon-to-be darker world for some. Your shows make my and many other people's weeks better. Well, thank you, Mike. It's a very kind thing to say.
Thank you.
And now, Rye Flyinger, big fan. Thank you. What Batman villain do you want to see next? I mean, the problem is that there's been so many iterations of Batman lately. That's like, I was thinking Scarecrow, but we saw him in the Nolan movies, right? It's like and the Joker is still probably going to show up again. Really, I don't know. I don't know which Batman villain. Do you guys have an idea?
I mean, the only Two-Face we have is
that's true. Two-Face
is Tommy Lee Jones, right?
Well, no, and Aaron Eckhart, of course.
I don't consider that.
What?
Yeah, but yeah, I guess. Yeah, he was terrible. I hated him in that movie. But
wow,
I think
hot takes here today.
Or a Mr. Freeze that isn't Schwarzenegger. I think a good Mr. Freeze that isn't Schwarzenegger. That's what I would like.
Okay.
I don't know if
this
I
would be
appreciate
more
that.
of like I would like to see an anti-hero vibe, but a Poison Ivy.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah,
Like
yeah,
an updated
yeah.
Poison Ivy
Yeah.
could be super
That'd be great,
cool.
Yeah. Day Napper, you have to dress in their style for the rest of your life. Who are you picking? Nick Cage, Johnny Depp, or Lenny Kravitz? If I'm gonna guess, Steph is gonna pick Lenny Kravitz.
Of course.
Of course.
What are you guys talking about?
Rogue is gonna.
I want my chest out 24/7.
Hello.
Like showing pecs.
You're gonna choose Johnny Depp, aren't you, Rogue?
I love Johnny Depp's style. I can't wear it. I don't have the body for it, but I do think it's because
you need to be like 40 pounds underweight.
Yeah, I think
at least 140 for me.
And I think I'd take Cage because Cage can dress, kind of crazy, but then he can also rock a suit.
Yeah.
So
good suit.
Yeah.
You are Adam Sandler.
Me?
you are New York.
Yeah.
Adam Sandler.
Hoodies and everything else.
Yeah.
100%.
Hoodies, hats,
Yeah.
and sneakers.
Yeah.
That's Christian.
Yeah. That's true. Corinne K6. Woohoo! Steph and Roka for the win.
Hey.
Thanks for staying with us longer on Tuesday, Roka. I guess you did a
Yeah,
longer
of course.
stream. Yeah. All right. So now we have Matt Garrett. Roka, did you cry a lot this week? Is the question.
Oh, is that Matt Garrison? No, I actually didn't. I get what he's referencing because he's trying to be funny, and I get it. And look, more power to you. Gloat.
Yeah.
Gloat. This is your time. Gloat. Enjoy it. Gloat all you want. I think it's great. But what you've done, and I hope this is clear, is that you've given a lot of us even more desire to fight. And just like you all have been a living hell for the last 8 years, it's our turn now, baby doll. And now that it's our turn and you're the establishment, we got our Let's Go Brandon stuff going. Trust me, it's going to be hell for you all for the next 4 years from people like me. So gloat, dance around, point your fingers, whatever. But a year from now, when you're looking at your paycheck and you're looking at those taxes and you're driving down streets with cages of Latino immigrants in them, I don't want to hear it. I don't want to hear it. So,
all right,
just know.
Shay Markel. Hey, Steph, I'm waiting for your reaction to Fast 8.
Oh, it just dropped. It just dropped. I love this franchise so much.
Yes.
The Fast franchise can do no wrong to me. Like, I just think this franchise, I'm in the family. I want to drink Coronas. Like, this is it, you guys.
In one of the best, I think, new Super Chat names I've seen recently, Poop Knife writes, just want to remind everyone who's paying for Super Chats in foreign currency, get them in now because the 60% tariff kicks in next year. Man, brutal. All right. Montana Bruce with Cobra Kai and Stranger Things ending next year. It seems that Netflix is running out of tentpoles. Seems like other streaming services with big IPs will last for a while. Netflix might be in some trouble soon. I don't think so. I think they can. Yeah, you got One Piece. You got a bunch of other things that they.
Arcane. You've got Avatar.
Shonda Rhimes says, "Shh,
yeah,
I've got this shit. Don't you worry."
That's what she said. True. But no, I mean, it's like any network that loses a big show after a bit, they got to find, it's a who's the best at finding stuff. And I still think HBO Max is the best at finding stuff afterwards, but we'll see. Corinne K6, who says, like this episode now and subscribe if you haven't. Thank you. See?
Thanks.
Appreciate that. Nerds Engaged. Do you feel that Penguin is still getting a second season? Between the movie and show, major crime bosses are dropping fast. Trajectory might not be sustainable. Well, I didn't see episode 7 yet, so I don't want to ruin it. I'm going to watch 7 and 8 together.
Okay.
I'm going to watch it as one big movie. But I think that it will get a season 2. But John, how do you feel about this?
It's funny. I've had a couple of people on YouTube comment on my reaction and say, like, there's not going to be a season 2. Stop saying there's going to. Matt Reeves said, and I'm going to tell you something. Just as we saw with Shogun, just as we've seen in other situations, you can start out thinking it's only going to be one season or a season within itself, a self-contained season. But if the numbers are there, the money is there, the interest is there, and the stories appear, then absolutely. So it all depends on what Reeves does with the Batman 2. But I think it could be very interesting to see season 2 of the Penguin. But we have to see what happens in the Batman to see what kind of season 2 we're going to get. And if they're still in charge, don't rule this out. Remember, Superman is going to come out. If Superman is mid or doesn't do well, where do we go from there?
That's true.
So, I think it's possible, but I don't know yet.
Steph?
Yeah, I definitely think a season 2 is possible. I would be happy either way because I trust this process. I think they've done such a great job of introducing characters and giving full arcs. But I also am like, it's getting continuously more chilling of a show. So I don't know how. I need some happiness to be like multiple seasons.
Right, that makes sense. All right, next one. Matthew Garrett. Is the new Karate Kid connected to Cobra Kai? I believe it is. I don't think it was supposed to be originally. I think originally when they announced it, because Hurwitz and Schlossberg and all three, they didn't think that they didn't even know it was happening. Hayden, John, and Josh didn't know it was happening. So then afterwards, after a little bit of announcing everything too, then they were like, oh, okay, we know what's happening. They're going to put it out after the series, so I'm sure there was some collaboration. And I think after Cobra Kai finishes, they'll probably collaborated with them. So I think it is connected. John, have you heard anything?
No, yeah, I think it is connected as well, as you said. I mean, the fact you're having both of them in there, I think it kind of plays out that it would be connected, right? But how it's connected, I don't know. I don't think you're going to do multiverse with the frickin' Cobra Kai and Karate Kid storyline. So
yeah. Okay. So here is Aaron the Creative. Who is an actress or actor who usually isn't your type, but you still find them sexy? For me, it's Brie Larson. And thank you guys for making my 9 to 5 bearable. I think I've been answering this question without even it being asked with Catherine Hahn. Catherine Hahn to me is not necessarily my type, but there's something about her. She just is super sexy. But Steph, I'll start with you. Who's an actor that you think is like, I don't necessarily not my type, but man.
This is like, I feel like people are gonna be like, what the heck? But I do think Timothy Chalamet has made an argument for himself.
And he's not normally
Mr.
your type.
Willy Wonka.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, like, he feels like a child to me, but I'm still like,
hey now.
Okay, Gaib.
Gaib. How about you?
I don't
Florence
know.
Pugh.
No, she's gorgeous.
Oh.
You can't
she's
say,
gorgeous.
Come on. I don't know. Come back to me. Let me think about it.
Wuss. All right. So
no joke.
Yeah, you're not attracted to Julie Robinson. You're not allowed to be. Day Napper. Bruce Willis in Death Becomes Her is such an underrated comedic performance of his. Is there a funnier performance from him? Hudson Hawk?
I would say Hudson Hawk because I have a guilty pleasure love for that movie, but no, he's great in Death Becomes Her.
He is really good in that too. You know what movie he's really funny in? Nobody ever talks about it anymore. Is Blind Date.
Oh yeah, the one with Kim Basinger.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's a great one.
My answer is Anna Klumsky. I wouldn't normally, but when she's
My
on
Girl.
Veep, oh yeah, when she's on Veep,
oh wow,
I get super turned on by her.
Okay,
because she is like brassy and she's got this like I don't know
gravitas.
Yeah, I like it. Gravitas. Yes, and in her body. Yeah, and so it just turns me on.
Okay, Miguel Zan. I think he will write an overall arc for the trilogy. Hire different writers to collab with and to write each one, then hire mid-tier directors to helm. I hope so. Just needs vision and organization. I disagree with none of that. Every single bit of that I agree with. I hope that he writes an overall arc. I think they need different writers to collab to write each one. Then you don't get these big, huge directors like a J.J. Abrams who's not going to listen to anybody and do his own thing off to the side, and hire people that are looking to make their mark, and they'll listen. Like, you know what? They need somebody like, not now because he's now established himself because of this, is someone like a Ryan Coogler, where he was when he took on Black Panther, right? He had done Fruitvale Station, he had done Creed, but nothing of that kind of scale. Find that person and do that. Do you guys agree with this comment?
Yeah.
Okay. Nice.
Yeah, I think so.
All right. Shay Markel, the last reaction was awesome. You guys are great. I don't know which one he means, but I hope that I'm hoping he means the Warrior one, because we did that one with Sam. Sam cried like 8 times in that movie.
Oh wow.
It's so good.
Yeah, she really she never heard of it, and she
Okay.
absolutely loved it. Free Pancakes. Red One is a Christmas movie, but trailer just showed sunny beaches and palm trees. Is it? Maybe, but that's just like the beginning, right?
Yeah, well, that's where they go.
Yeah.
So I think that's the joke, that the
Right.
snowmen vacation in hot areas.
Mhm.
So I think that's the joke.
Day Napper says we're on the road to 200 today. I think 200 is not reachable today, but
Okay.
but it's 146 though. You guys have set the record.
Nice.
You set the record today.
Nice.
You beat the previous record holder by a guy named John Stephen Roca.
Hey.
Yeah. But you guys are the new record holders, and maybe this is a force. This is a force. So, Armada, the Dune score logic is like if someone can get nominated for Best Actor and Best Supporting Actor at the same time. Come on, it should get nominated. No, I don't think anybody here is going to disagree with you.
Yeah.
No.
Derek Johnson, here he is.
Derek.
Disney owns In Living Color, and they are sitting on it. Super frustrating that it's not available. Why? Yeah, I don't. What's the logic on that?
It's got to be rights with the actors. It has to be. Like
But
Jim
if they
Carrey,
own
how
it,
much can you say yes or no?
But I wonder if they own it. If they own it, I don't know. Pete Kolenko. Hey, John, congratulations on the new show. Steph, love those headphones, and happy wedding, belated.
Yeah, happy belated wedding.
Thank you.
Yeah. Christian, congrats on the successful move. Thank you. Thoughts on quality and entertainment value of 90s movies versus now? Hard to say, because there's a lot of things. I don't buy into the logic of, oh, they don't make movies. And my wife says it all the time, they don't make movies like they used to. So everybody who gets old says that, right?
Every generation
says that. Same thing, music, same thing, everything else too. There's a lot of great things that you could do in the 80s and the 90s that you can't do now. There's a lot of things now that you can never even imagine. I just watched a clip with Josh Horowitz with Tom Hanks. He was talking about superhero movies, and he's like, there's things that you just couldn't do back then because you didn't have the ability to do it. Now you can bring those things to life. So the quality, I mean, it's just hard to say. What I will say is with the Oscars, I was watching Oscar nominations from like the 90s and everything too. If you look at those Oscar nominations, there's not one movie in there that you haven't heard of. Like and it's not like now people who watch it, I think it's one of the main reasons that the ratings go down. You watch the ratings, the Oscars now, if you're not in this space, nobody knows half the movies that are in this freaking thing. Like it's not mainstream movies. Back in those 90s, 80s, mainstream movies were nominated. It wasn't little side movies. Now it's like these little side movies. That's why I still say to this day, move the Oscars off network television. Get them out of there. What do you think the difference is, Steph, between 90s and now?
Well, the bigger budgets, I do think, have changed the way we make movies.
Yeah.
Like I often, if you look at interviews of some of the movies that we love, the most unique or loved parts about the movies were because they were pressed for budget and had to be creative. So I don't think we have as much of that.
Yeah.
But it doesn't mean it's not possible in some movies.
John?
Yeah, I mean, it's all a matter of how they. I don't know. I think our tastes have changed. So we as a populace have moved away overall from certain type of movies, and so that's why there's a disconnect, I think, between what critics are valuing and what the mainstream audience is valuing, and that's why you see this difference here. You know, and that's why less people are watching this stuff. Honestly, I'm not. And look, I'm a critic. I know, like, you know, there's certain films that I look at for certain things, and those are the ones that qualify for the awards that you're handing out. Clearly, the mainstream populace is not seeing those films in the numbers that they did way back when. Right. So that's why there's a difference. And I think films are just as powerful and poignant every decade and every generation because they're speaking for that generation. So to say that, oh, it was better back then is utter nonsense. Yeah. Because there's a lot of dated 90s movies. A lot.
Matthew Garrett follows up, says Star Wars Dark Phoenix coming soon. Yeah, maybe so. Maybe so. Dancing Dogs 60. Do you think we'll see a redo of teen comedies like American Pie, Porky's, My Tutor, Hard Bodies, and the like? It's been a while. I think that they do still happen. They're different types of remember, the teen sensibilities today are not the teen sensibilities of back then, right? There's I saw an article saying that American Pie is problematic and this. It's like you're not going to make movies like that at all now because the generations are just different, and there are tons of them, and they're all on Netflix.
Well, yeah, because you're they were from the male point of view, right? And what we've seen recently, like Blockers and what was the one with, what was the two lesbian one with butts? What was it?
Oh,
was it
right.
called?
There was that one that came on too, but there was even another one after that. There was
Like,
tons. There's tons.
Yeah, the book one with
Book Smart.
Yeah,
Book
Smart.
Like those are being told from the woman's point of view in high school, and there was none of that back then. So I think there's a whole different time. But we've seen studies recently too, Christian and Steph, that like teenagers don't want to see sex in their movies, don't want to see that stuff that we were into or we looked at back then because it's so readily available.
Right.
Well, it's in the 80s, man. We didn't have
everywhere.
We had to go find it, you know.
Yeah. Steph, do you think they'll ever be made, or will they continue to be made, but in different points of view?
Like American Pie type humor?
Yeah.
Probably I think that we're gonna see more comedies happening. I do think we're in a slower point where comedies aren't really working, but I keep hearing from so many people in the industry and outside of the industry, just movie and TV lovers, who are just like dying to see big blockbuster comedies again. So it's gonna happen. It just might be a little bit different, but we're not. I think the thing with comedy, it's hard to be a blockbuster because we now live in a time where we are so far away from being able to please the masses. So you just have to pick a niche, and so that might look differently. It might not be as big of a blockbuster, but I do think those stories exist. Like, I know that the kids, there might be really conservative type kids, but there are those like Euphoria kids that are exactly like that and want to see stuff like that.
Yeah. All right. So next question coming in, thank you for that one, by the way, is just RQM DSMD, who says support for Steph. There you go.
Thank you.
Peter Kalenko, Fifth Element, Hackers, Shawshank, Speed, Birdcage. List of movies and genres go on and on. Even duds were entertaining. Some up for like the 90s movies. Yeah, there's some great ones. I mean, you could do that for a lot of the different decades, right? I mean, you could probably pull a bunch of from the 2010s, you know, and get a whole bunch of them. But those are some great ones, no doubt. No doubt. Okay. Next one is Dancing Dog 60. Well, who's your favorite Jack Ryan? Baldwin, Ford, Affleck, Chris Pine, Krasinski? I really liked Hunt for Red October. Really well directed. It's too Ford.
What?
Harrison Ford.
Harrison Ford? Yeah.
Yeah. Anybody else?
No, I like Baldwin.
I don't know enough.
I'm a Baldwin guy.
Okay.
I like Baldwin.
But Ford also had more opportunities to live in the character. I mean, what Baldwin do? One movie, right?
He's too old for those movies, in my opinion. But that's...
How dare you, sir? Dancing Dog 60. TBF. Eastwood, Quaid, Sorbo, Chachi all endorsed Trump. I mean, there's a lot of Republican celebrities out there too. There are a lot. I mean, there's a lot of them out there.
They equally, the RNC and the DNC relied heavily on celebrity endorsements, which is, it's a little hypocritical to think only the DNC did when so many of the rallies on the RNC were the same exact thing, just different.
Different.
And influencers.
Influencers for sure. Go Pipe. Have you ever seen Showdown in Little Tokyo with Dolph Lundgren? Lundgren, as JT would say, Dolph Lundgren. My roommate in college showed it to me, and it was hilarious. I don't remember it. Do you remember that movie, John?
Oh yeah, it's him. It's Brandon Lee.
Oh, is it? Okay.
Yeah. So that was like the first thing he did before The Crow, and so I remember watching it because I mean Lundgren with Rocky IV. I watched a lot of the Lundgren stuff.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's not a good movie, but it's a fun.
Okay. Kill a Cam. What is the best murder mystery movie and show? Best movie.
Jesus, a lot of these questions.
That's a tough one. Murder mystery movie. That's like a thriller. I mean, wouldn't Seven count as that murder mystery?
Oh yeah,
Seven would count.
Yeah,
right?
for sure.
I'd put Seven in there. Show. I mean, I don't watch Murders in the Building, but I hear good things.
I
hear good things.
I think maybe Silence of the Lambs.
Oh, that's a good one too.
Oh, that's a good one.
Yep.
And then shows Only Murders is good, but I don't think it's the best one. I don't know. I'd have to think about that.
You got
I mean, I think show-wise, True Detective is.
Oh, it's a good one too.
Those I think every
Really
season
good.
except for the second season is super excellent.
Yeah, I didn't really mind the second one too much, but the third one is underrated.
But yeah, I agree. The Stephen Dorff and Mahershala Ali season,
really good, really
so,
good.
Movie-wise, I guess. I know. Presumed Innocent. The original Presumed Innocent is a good murder mystery. Though you know, Harrison. Speaking of Harrison,
yeah. How dare you, sir? Shay Markel, Roca. What's your favorite episode of Lioness season 1? Don't spoil it.
Dude, that is tough.
I need to watch that show.
Steph, you will love this show.
My family loves it. I need to watch it.
So good. Probably the finale. Although the pilot episode was excellent.
So I should watch this, huh?
Yeah, dude. I'm telling you.
All right, I'll check it out. I gotta get through Kingdom right now. Kingdom is my show that I'm watching.
Yeah.
It's so I told Roxy I was mad at her the other day. She's like, how did you never tell me about this show? She's like, I never seen it. Armada. Christian still needs to see season 3 of Daredevil. I think that's true. I don't remember watching it. I don't know. And I've definitely never seen
Illusions. So,
I've never seen season 1 or 2 of The Punisher. Which I definitely
so good.
I know.
The Punisher is so good.
I know. I got to check it out.
And I hope Disney doesn't touch it because I just don't see them doing the Punisher the way
he's coming in. Punisher's coming in.
I know.
We'll see.
I know. I'm scared about it though.
Rangers fan, 1996. I saw Red 1 yesterday. Now, is it going to win an Oscar? Fuck no. However, it's a stupid, fun Christmas action movie. And come on, J.K. Simmons is Santa. I love the show. John must be loving life under Slot. What does that mean?
Oh, Arne Slot, our manager at Liverpool.
Okay.
Yes. Thank you very much. It is a lot. It's a lot of fun right now for sure.
But yeah, I mean, look, that's all. I'm going to see Red 1, I think, next week. That's all. I just want to have fun. That's all. I don't need it to be a groundbreaker. Jim 1. Whilst movies and the Oscars have historically been political, with declining viewership and box office struggles, I think Hollywood may pull back this time. It's possible. It's possible. I mean, I think that, it as John and I say all the time, it is show business.
Yep.
And they have to look and say, hey, we've tried this and we've tried to do this. There's always going to be, as John was saying beforehand, with movies and stuff, there's still going to, if you want to say things and you want to make a point, you can do it. My point has always been, make that point with reasonable budgets and know who you're going after. Because if you're making it for X amount of dollars and you're just aiming at the people that are, are part of that message, and you can both accomplish your message plus make some money. But when you're spending $100 million or $200 million in a movie, like, well, no, this is the way we feel and everybody else feels that way, and you do it and you get the accolade. And that's what happened.
But I also think certain narratives are nonsense. Like this idea that the Oscars are political. One or two people speaking out when they get a chance to speak doesn't make the entire ceremony political, So these are the things you have to look at, but that's the perception. So you have to deal with the perception, and so you have to have it play. But I bristle at people who are like, keep politics out of movies. What are you talking about?
No, it's always been in movies. He says that though. He says that. I will tell you though. I know that you and I are in the opposite of this, John. But I think political commentary at the Oscars should be banned. I think it should be banned.
What if your film was one that was a film about a political issue?
100%. If it's relatable, like you look at Killers of the Flowers movie. Killer of the Flowers.
Yeah.
When give me the actress's name, for God's sakes, Lily.
Lily
Gladstone.
Thank you. 100% relevant to the movie itself and everything she talked about. It's relevant to it. But if you win for Sonic the Hedgehog 3 and you start making big political statements, stop. Tweet about it.
We're on the same page on that.
Okay.
If the movie is related to what you're talking about,
right? It's like if you're like, look, we made this movie about mental health, and this is so important because, and it relates to the subject matter. 100%. If you're making a movie that wins the Oscar because it's a political drama, and you say, look, we made this because this, and my stance on it is okay, fine. Yeah. But again, if you win Best Score for Willy Wonka and you decide to do so, it's like, no. I feel it's not. It doesn't pertain to it. All right. So here is the next one, and this one is from Miguel Zane. Some directors I think will be in the mix for the trilogy. Sean Levy, Matt Shankman, Bryce Dallas Howard, I like that. He said she should be. Coogler, unlikely, and Capel Jr. It's a good list, and a list that's probable. Out of all of those, I'd probably tell you. Oh man, I'd like to see Bryce Dallas Howard get one of those movies to direct for sure. I'd like to see that.
Yeah, that'd be fun.
Yeah,
I agree.
Dan V900. Simon Kinberg is not a good writer whatsoever. It's fine if he is producing, but his best writing credit is Days of Future Past. Matthew Vaughn said repeatedly that it was 80% of his story and screenplay, not Kinberg. Yeah, I know. I still think that, yeah.
Do you believe him after
Vaughn?
what you've seen from Matthew Vaughn recently? Do you believe him?
You're saying as far as public things that he's said, or you're talking about the movie that he did?
I'm talking about the movie. Do you really believe so?
Argyle? I mean, I don't blame. I do believe Vaughn on that one. Okay. I think Vaughn is obsessed with trying to make the Kingsman world work. He's obsessed. Even there's a spoiler now, and you've seen the movie. And if you haven't seen the movie, I don't care. Argyle. There's at the end in the post credits. There's a tie-in to the Kingsman. It's like, just stop it. Stop doing that. Okay, so we did that. Derek Johnson coming back in there. Thank you so much. You guys, I mean, I'll tell you guys, today it's going to be very hard to beat your record. It's going to be very hard. Fireside Reviews. John, tell us why and how do you think Eckhart was terrible in The Dark Knight?
Yeah, because Christopher Nolan himself said that he shoved that storyline in there, that he was not sure he was going to come back for a third one. And he had this storyline that him and his brother worked out for Two-Face, and that was going to be the third film. But because he wasn't going to come back, he shoved that into the movie, and we had not it wasn't constructed and built well.
Are you talking about the Scarecrow?
No, he's talking about.
You're talking about Two-Face. You don't think it wasn't thrown into the movie? It was the whole essence of the film.
Two-Face was, yeah, but I'm saying they took his entire storyline and then they condensed it and shoved it into this one. And that's where the problem was. Why am I getting Joker and Two-Face? That makes no sense. And at times, and the way he turned him in the hospital bed, really?
Well,
this is it's just didn't
the
work.
The only thing I'll give you that is the stupidest thing in a movie. I think The Dark Knight is perfect, except this one moment, which is when he's laying in bed and freaking he lets her rest the mask over his face, and then he takes it down. He's like, whoa, now he knows that it's him. And that's the only problem. I disagree with you so much that so much that, dude, the whole point is that you live long enough, you become the villain. And it's like that whole thing, that was the whole essence of the film.
But it was dumb.
Oh,
that's my belief.
How dare you? The Badass Times. Best actors working alive in their prime: Ben Foster, Gosling, or Driver, or your choices. Love you guys. Roca is the man. The Badass Times. I'll go out of those three. Who do I think is the best actor out of that?
Tough, dude.
That's hard to say. Actor wise, I gotta say Ben Foster's the best actor.
Thank you.
Thank you. He's the best actor.
I agree.
The best movie star, I'd probably say Gosling is the essence of a movie star. But Foster and Driver's like a mixture of both.
Yeah.
But I'd say Foster's the best actor. Steph, where do you stand on that?
That's really hard. I don't know. I'd probably go Gosling just because I think his range is pretty amazing.
Okay. Grogu. Hey guys, just wanted to say I love your channel. Thank you so much. Very, very kind.
Thank you.
It was nice. Okay, so we got a couple more here, and we go with Dan V900. Matt Reeves said the Arkham and Gotham City PD shows have evolved and they weren't fully canceled. I don't think we need a second season of Penguin and would prefer to expand. I hate to say that because I just love Penguin so much, and I want to see that. I know we're going to at least see Penguin again in the Batman 2, but how do you look? If this was announced before the Penguin came out, I go, why are we doing all these different shows? But I think that Matt Reeves has earned our trust. Steph, what do you think?
Yeah, I think he's earned our trust fully. I hear you on I don't feel that need for a second season right now, but depending how it ends and where they want to go with it, I would trust that it's going to be at least decent.
John?
Yeah, I think that's pretty much how I feel. And yeah, they've evolved, but doesn't mean evolve to where they're actually going to get this thing done because they've changed so much.
Right.
So what do you have? Bird in the hand, two in the bush? I'll take the bird in the hand, which is the second season of Penguin over these two that might not even see the light of day.
I'm with you. The Badass Times also says, rewatching Willis's films, though great films came after, Armageddon was the last time he was the man that we grew up with. Sorry, Roca. Thoughts? I think Roca agrees.
Yeah, Armageddon's one of my favorite films ever made. It's the greatest American film.
He said that Armageddon, that was the last time he was the man that we grew up with, though. Do you agree with that?
Yeah, it was the last time. Yeah, I agree with that.
But I thought he was pretty damn good. And there's 2 other movies I thought he was great.
Yeah.
He was great in both Looper, which was fantastic.
Right.
And he was also great in Unbreakable.
Yeah, but he's talking about like
the
lead guy, lead action dude.
I agree
with
that. Then.
So I think those are more nuanced performances. And so I agree with him because Armageddon is the greatest American film of the last 40 years.
Here's something I think I'm going to agree. I'm not going to. The second part of this I probably won't agree with, but I can give it some love that I don't know if Roke is going to. The Cali Kid says, thoughts on Horizon. I think it's a masterpiece. I wouldn't call it a masterpiece, but what I would say is I really enjoyed it. I think it was a really good television show that was on the big screen. And John, how did you feel about it?
Yeah, I liked Horizon for what it was. I mean, it very much lived on Costner's personality and energy. And I thought, Jamie Campbell Boyer? I thought he was a really good villain for the time he was in the movie. But too many storylines that didn't quite line up as well as you should have.
Luke Wilson came out of nowhere.
Yeah, Luke. Yeah, Open Range is a better Costner Western by far. But I think this wasn't as bad as some of the critics were saying. So I think it's a good Western. It's not a great Western. That's what I would say.
Aaron the Creative. Being a Star Wars fan feels like being a Cowboys fan. There was a time when we were getting great, but they've been dysfunctional for decades. Lord, give us hope. Nailed it. Day Napper. Have you seen the Waltzing with Brando trailer with Billy Zane? The pictures of Billy Zane as Brando look better than the trailer. The pictures look great. I got to tell you, I was hoping for like a documentary, not a documentary, but like an actual biopic with him as Brando. It's like a goofy, silly comedy.
Yeah, but it's a true story. It's just, you're right.
But it's the way that's presented.
Yeah.
Yeah. Did you see the trailer, Steph?
No, not yet.
Look, you remember the picture because I tricked you. I tricked you with the picture last week. You thought it was Brando. But so did my wife when I showed it to her for a second. But then when I showed her long enough, she was like, "Oh, there it is. It's Billy Zane."
Yeah.
But and I think he looks great as him. But I just wish it was something different than this tone. Calvin Severo Pano with a very generous super chat. Thank you, sir. Hey, I'm an hour behind in the video. I hope I'm not repeating anyone. But guys, all the good credits you spoke for Kinberg's are for producing. If you only take writing, it's Madame Web levels of bad. Fantastic Four is also included, and he's going to write it. He makes a very, very solid point.
Yeah, but I don't think he's going to be the sole writer. If I know Star Wars, there's no way he's the sole
he'd probably be the sole writer, but if he creates the body of it, that's a problem. And Steph, I know you loved Madame Web. It was your favorite movie of this year, but like, what did you think?
It wasn't that bad.
Oh.
I really think that it was a fun watch. Minus the ADR and the villain.
Yeah.
The rest of it I liked.
Matt Serra said the same thing. It was funny. Matthew Garrett says, male point of view. I don't know what that means.
Yeah.
Is that
like maybe alluding to the
which one we're
comedy conversation we were having?
Oh, yeah.
Comedy.
Right. Okay. Okay. So then we got Derek trying to get you guys to 200.
Thank you, Derek.
He's trying. So that's insane. That has never happened, and I never thought it could. The Badass Times. Weird researching Anton Yelchin's death. Any details? The great loss talent of this generation. After Ledgers, since you guys lived in Hollywood when he died, you know what's crazy about it? I think it was. I don't know if it was John. Were you there when he came in the studio? It was the old Collider studio. I sat down and I ate In and Out with him, and it was wow. I feel like it was either like a week or like a month before he passed.
Yeah, well, yeah.
It was something. So, but like he was a really nice kid. He's a really nice kid. I remember we just were shooting the shit, eating In and Out together. That was it.
There's a great documentary on him that people should watch as well. Yeah.
I think he's someone who's not. I don't want him to be like forgotten. You know what I mean? He's like he is one of those guys. I don't know if it was Heath Ledger had, as we were just talking about with The Dark Knight. I don't think Anton Yelchin ever had a shot in his young life to hit that, right? He never hit that, but he always knocked it out of the park every time he was in it. But Steph, were you a fan of Anton Yelchin? Remember him?
I'm not as familiar.
Do a search on him, and you'll recognize him when you see him. But he's been in a lot of great stuff, and he was great.
Yeah, the Star Trek stuff.
Yeah, he was good in that too. Hank Pym. Are you hyped for Heretic? I'm seeing it tonight. Yeah, I was supposed to see it. I was a screening that I had for it, but it landed on my anniversary, and I said, "There's no way I'm going to be able to get, a pass to say, hey, honey, you know what? Let's not do anything tonight. I'm going to go see Heretic." But I hear good things.
But yeah, same thing with me. I skipped on the screening because that was the same night as Agatha All Along finales. I wanted to watch that instead and react to that instead. So definitely going to see it this weekend.
Yeah. Matt B, do you think, and this is, I guess, for both you guys, do you think that Kimmel changes his mind and winds up hosting the Oscars again now? You think so, John?
I think that's very, very possible. Again, I'm telling you, people are going to fight back hard and they're going to love it. And I think Kimmel absolutely will want to do it now. And his show last night was hilarious. So, be sad, be despondent, process it, go through it, then get the hell back up and fight. That's it.
Yeah.
You feel the same way, Steph?
Yeah, I really don't feel like this loser mentality that I feel like some people are trying to project. It's like very bizarre that like the first thing people do when they are committed to a candidate is like go for the people who voted for someone else. It's like you lost, like cry about it. It's like I'm not crying. I actually feel like quite fired up, and I think everyone I've talked to is. So I think it's just like an odd projection that maybe it has more to do with how they feel about themselves. But I don't think that's how many people feel who got out and voted for a different candidate.
All right. Travis Nickerson, do you think there is enough interest to do a Rise of Falcone versus Maroni for the Penguins universe? Probably not. Will we ever get a Thundercats live action movie or a series? Well, Adam Wingard really wants to do a Thundercats movie, like really badly. The Oscars needs Ricky Gervais to host. I mean, I would watch that guy do anything. He's one of my favorites. I love Ricky Gervais. But no, he shouldn't host the Oscars. The Golden Globes again, sure.
I'm so confused by people who want to have celebrities taken down a peg, yet go to their movies. Which is it? Which is it? Like, you love going to their movies. You love watching their movies. You buy their movies. You own their movies. You stack your shelves with their movies. You talk about your friends with their movies, or talk with your friends about their movies. You argue about rankings of the movies, but you want a host who's going to take everybody down a peg. So which is it? Like, do you like the thing or do you hate the thing? Is it a love-hate thing? It's very confusing.
There's a time and a place, and that's not the place for him.
Yeah.
Spidey sent 72. I'm curious to hear if Rocha thinks that James Gunn owes Sasha Calle a role in the DCU after they screwed her over so badly with the character of Supergirl.
I love what Sasha said. She came out earlier this week and talked about it. I don't know if they, and I don't want a dead name. I don't know if they identify as a they, so I'm not sure if it's a please excuse me if I'm off on that. But I thought what she had to say was fantastic, and the way she spoke about the passion and the energy they had about it, and the way they just addressed how much they committed to bringing that character to life. And that's what you want from an actor who takes on a role like this, to bring everything they have, to really care about it, be nervous about it, because that gets them excited to do the right thing and do it well. And I thought that was great. Will they come back and play it? No, of course not. He's gone with Millie Alcock, and that's his choice as the creator, and we'll see what that leads to.
Yeah, Steph, what do you think?
Yeah, we loved what she said. I think, but I don't know. Maybe it would be fun to see her in a different role. And I just hope other directors pick her up because she's great.
Yeah, and somebody did on someone else too. But to answer the question though, does James Gunn owe her a role? No, he doesn't.
No,
he doesn't owe her a role at all.
Right.
Because he came and he was hired. And they said, here you go. And he probably said, look, I'll do this, but I'm going to do things my way. And he came in, it's like, whoever was cast beforehand, I'm probably not going to use them again. And it's not on him to be able to do it. Now, what they shouldn't have done is guarantee that she was going to be in a movie. They shouldn't have said, like, let's see, it's in the contract just in case, but there's no guarantee, right? Whatever they told her. I thought she handled it with class, but no, James Gunn doesn't owe her a damn thing. Dancing Dog 60. So was Child's the Thing at the end or not?
Oh, he's saying was Kurt Russell the thing or not?
Or
was it Keith David? I think Keith David.
Yeah. Maybe, yeah. That's interesting. I just saw it for the first time like 2 years ago, but I don't know. Maybe. Mike Joyce, if we do get some more political movies, I hope we get more like All the King's Men and a face in the crowd, and less like Don't Look Now and Vice. Yeah, I mean, I liked you brought one up the other day that I really liked that I hadn't thought about in a while was the Ides of March, which was a really good one.
Ides of March. Yeah, and great points. Face in the Crowd's a fantastic film. If people haven't seen that, Elia Kazan, Andy Griffith, I think that's a perfect one to watch right now. And I agree. Those are, yes, the ones that lean too far left or too far right are so boring to me. Show me ones that are actually a commentary about an actual thing that's going on in the middle.
Agreed. Matthew Garrett, Nolan films weren't Batman films. They were sad Bond films. Batman isn't Batman without the fantastical. The point of Batman is he's human among gods and monsters, and yet he can outsmart them all. I mean, I think there's some merit to that. I did I love the Nolan films, and I think having one Batman in the same way that people talk about like Man of Steel. It's nice. Superman traditionally is with that hope, the overall that the Boy Scout kind of thing that we're going to see, I think, next year. But I liked seeing the darker version of him for a take, So I like that take. But do you guys have any opposing views on that one?
I like the different takes of the Batman. So to me, I really liked it.
Dennis Hoffman says that Kinberg just confirmed the Star Wars trilogy on his IG. His Trek deal is dead. I guess so. I mean, clearly, if he's able to do this, so we'll see what happens. Dancing Dog 60, Predator 2 is a badass sequel. Thoughts? I think it's a better movie than I was bummed when I saw it because I love Danny Glover. But Arnold wasn't in it, and I was an Arnold guy. So I was waiting for Dutch to come back at one point. Really liked that movie. Gary Busey is incredible as always in it, but it's a good movie. Steph, have you seen Predator 2?
No.
Oh, have you seen Predator 1?
No.
How have they not got you to watch that movie?
I don't know.
Oh my God! Just call them on the phone right now and tell them that they're out of their minds.
The Predator.
Oh my God! Not the Predator. No. Predator. They're very different.
Predator.
The Predator is not very good.
Capital P.
Not the Batman.
No. Predator. Predator with Arnold Schwarzenegger is one of the best action movies of all time.
Really?
Oh my God! Come on, Steph.
Predator. Oh, there is also the Predator. That's why
That's what I'm saying. You don't like the first Predator, John?
I do. I don't think it's one of the greatest action movies.
I've seen this guy before.
Arnold Schwarzenegger?
No. I've seen Predator before, like a photo of him.
Sure.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, of course. Come on, Steph. What are you doing? You sit there, you watch God knows what.
Oh my God.
Watch all the Transformers movies, backwards, forwards, nonsense. You got to
his mouth.
Come on. Stop it.
What
all right.
that mouth do?
Hank Pym. Harloff. I missed the cartoon cat. Me too. By far your best character. I think he wrote Venom 3 and Argyle. Why were the Schmoes reviews purged from YouTube? They weren't. There's a lot of Schmoes reviews that are back on YouTube. Like, you got to understand something. I am managing 3 YouTube channels at the moment. I manage this one, my Clips channel, which is doing pretty well. That Zach Morris clip just hit 1 million views, which I'm very happy about. And the Down to Earth channel. I have the Schmodown channel, and I don't put a lot of maintenance into it. I just made the thing that we had to make sure was that the entire library is up there for you guys. On that channel, I do have old Schmoes reviews. If I can get to them, I'll keep making them public. But the Schmoes, there's a lot of reviews on there that are there for sure. But the cartoon cat lives. The Dart 005. Roca, thoughts on Bolivians, Latinos for Trump? Don't go too much into it.
Yeah, I mean, how about this? Because this is not the forum for that.
Yeah.
If you want to hear my thoughts, follow me on social media. I've been posting about it for 2 days.
Perfect. Follow him on that, and you can also see. And he's also going to have a full channel where he's going to cover all that stuff.
Yeah, Chris will join me.
Yeah. Corinne K6. How close are we to 200? We just hit it. They hit. I don't know how they did it, but they hit 200.
Yeah.
I don't think anybody's going to ever catch that. Dancing Dog 60. Swanson or Banquet frozen chicken dinners. I don't know enough about it. Do you guys know anything about that?
No.
What?
No, stop with the frozen.
I don't know. I don't know enough about it. I'm sorry.
You guys don't eat frozen dinner? Yeah, Swanson's.
No, Swanson's okay.
I don't even have a microwave.
No, I got one. I'm going to make a taco afterwards. Matthew Garrett. How does Kathleen Kennedy still have a job? I think she's going to be working until Mandalorian and Grogu, but I mean, John might have a point. This trilogy, maybe she sticks around to chaperone it, but it's like, good God. They are so clueless over there.
Security, man.
Oh, they're so clueless. The Badass Times. Willa Fitzgerald Oscar nom for Strange Darling and Kylie Garner supporting Best Film of the Year at this point by far. If no noms, Oscars are a sham. I didn't see Strange Darling, but I hear good things. You guys see it?
I haven't seen it
Yeah, I
yet.
hear really good things about it.
Yeah, I haven't seen that one.
Yeah. Matthew Garrett, Reeves is emo born. Is that the Matthew Reeves one?
Oh yeah. He's so
about?
emo.
Yeah, Derek Johnson. Thank you, Derek. Derek, I think, helped push you guys over there. Fabrice was eating my tea, so I don't know. But have you talked about the announcement of a Mass Effect series in the works in Amazon? Sadly, from the Fast 9 writer. No, I knew that. Wasn't Tom Hardy part of the movie at one point? I thought he was, but no, I haven't heard about the series though. No, was it any good?
I've never played, so I don't know.
Yeah. The Badass Times need Finstock to return. Get the man on the phone. Get him off the golf course, then I'll put him on. I don't know where the hell he's always on the golf course.
Yeah, what is he doing?
Yeah. Day Napper, look at all this bonus time. Thank you for spoiling us. Stay awesome. 200 yet? Yeah, we're at 201. And nice. This is going to be a legendary show that both Rocha and Steph team up and take the record together. So Chillmonger, they are actually the first duo to ever set the record. The first record was set by Winston. The second record was set by Rocha, and now they did it together. Chillmonger, Greta Gerwig is crazy overrated. Her filmography is, and then it cuts off. Filmography is, doesn't say anything else, but I guess maybe they thought it was overrated. I mean, she hasn't done enough to say she's overrated. The movies that she's done so far,
right.
Lady Bird, and what was the first one? Frances Ha?
Frances Ha.
I don't know if she directed it. Did she direct it?
That was Baumbach directing.
Okay,
her
husband directed it, but she was in it. Right. So I think she's got time to build. I can't say she's overrated yet. She's done her movies and she's done some big.
And she's not getting hired for everything, so right. I feel like you can say like she might be a little overhyped right now, but I don't think she's overrated yet.
Derek Johnson says, guys, I'm done for the day. I love the show as always. Well, thank you, Derek. You pushed them over. And then
Thanks,
Ryan
Derek.
Chrome, hey, love the show. This is the last one. I love season 1 of Peaky Blinders, and my God, do I love this show. Have any of you watched it? Rocha loves it.
I love Peaky fucking Blinders. That's my show, dog. So yeah, I'm glad you're watching. They're shooting the movie right now. Barry Keoghan has posted pictures of himself on set. So Barry Keoghan's going to be in this.
I need to see this show, huh?
It's so good.
It's right up my alley.
It's totally up here.
Yeah, okay.
Put the subtitles on, though. I know you. Put the subtitles on.
No, I mean, I don't mind subtitles. I was watching Kingdom with subtitles. I like subtitles.
Well, I'm saying the accents are so deep.
Oh, okay. All right. Anyway, thank you guys so much. Make sure you check out John Rocha's channel. You can go there, just check out everything he's got going on. Whenever, in about 50 years when he posts his political channel, you can go there and check that out. Steph, make sure you check out Steph on the World Girls and everything else. Check her out on the Twits and everything else, too. So you guys rule 203. 203.
Thanks, guys.
Unbelievable. Going to be very hard for Winston and Coy tomorrow. I don't know if they're going to be able to do it, but we shall see. Thank you guys once again. Thank you to our wonderful sponsors. Thank you to everybody who was commenting. Thank you to everybody who was throwing in donations. Anybody who's gotten our sponsors. Anybody who got via, you should be thanking me. Other than that, we really appreciate you. You guys are the best. We will be back here tomorrow. Tonight, I'm a Gladiator 2. I'm doing Gladiator 2 out of the theater reaction.
Oh, fun.
Yeah, it is tonight.
Yeah, John's got his out of the theater reaction. So check that out. We got it going. Peace.